Hello and welcome to the Inbetween Podcast. Here we're going to talk about some video games and everything in between. And this week we are video games. Just for the sake of our search algorithm, we need to become video games. So, hello, welcome. I'm joined here by usual Tony.
Hey, that's me.
And also Daniel's here this week.
I have not
Very
died.
briefly because he's very busy.
Very busy man. I have things to see, people to see.
So
I was going to say people to do then, and I was like, that's probably not the best thing to say.
I was going to say what we've been playing and watching, but that's going to roll very quickly onto Overwatch, and I was going to save the BlizzCon stuff for later.
I have played something else this week.
All right, what have you played?
I played Firewatch again. Because they have released a free roam for Firewatch.
What's free roam?
So you know roughly Firewatch has got a specific storyline.
Yeah.
You have to go and walk at certain
Did you
places.
ever get those pictures you ordered?
Yeah.
Oh, where are they?
They're like in my room in a bag somewhere because I just forgot about
you never
them.
showed them to me.
I'll bring them up and stick them on your wall.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. Anyway, they
on Joe's
they go on my wall.
yeah,
now.
well, they can't go on my room. My room's a very clean aesthetic. It's it's black and white, and that's
Right.
it. And
Well, like Peter's game.
yes, but actually,
the
not
trial, yeah.
the trial.
We let's call it
Trial.
the trial because we
Yeah.
think it may not be a complete game.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll see.
Yeah, so they released a free roam mode for it. So instead of you just having to go and get to certain bits and pieces that the game wants you to go to, you can walk around all of the map in whatever order you like. So if there's any bits you missed or because you played the game slightly differently, you can just wander over to that bit and see how it's any different.
Is it particularly different in free roam?
Not really. It's bits and pieces you perhaps didn't look at before because you were trying to concentrate on the story. Because actually the whole environment of Firewatch is quite nice. So you can wander and look around. I'm sure that someone will find some Easter eggs or something now that this mode's in there. But yeah, that's pretty much
You
it.
have the same kind of control you have over your character as you do in the main storyline.
Yeah, it's the
There's
same.
no added stuff like maybe like a car or some guns, GTA style free roam.
Yeah, they've actually added a helicopter
Lamborghini.
My knowledge.
But yeah, I've done that, and of course
Shout
I've
out to
been
Ty Lopez.
playing some Overwatch because
PTR?
Yeah, there has been some massive changes.
I'll tell you
over there.
something new I've been playing this week actually, just before the podcast. I've been playing Dirt 3, the complete edition.
Why?
They gave it away for free on the Humble store.
Oh right.
Did you don't? I gave you the link, Tony.
Yeah, I've got it.
You've got it. So
How long was it for? Was it like
I don't.
really
I think
short?
it's gone. It was like a short
It is
window.
gone,
Oh, cool.
unfortunately.
But I think I got all of my friends to get it as well. So me, Martin, and Albin, and all my friends from Sweden.
Dirt 3 is a good game.
We
Linus
were
uses it all the
playing
time
and
when
I
he
was
wants to, like,
crashing
test
into a
for stuff.
lot of cars.
Mm.
I mean, it's very realistic rally driving, so it's very hard to control your car. It's not arcade race theory. But everyone was getting annoyed because I kept getting put at pole position and then crashing into everyone and just taking people out. Rocket League style.
Well, you're the red shell, basically.
Yeah, I was basically saying, guys, it's Sonic All-Star Racing transformed, right?
Yeah.
And I am the shell to take you out. I don't remember what the power-ups in that game because it's been so long since I played it, which is a shame. Because it's a fantastic game. It's like Mario Kart on PC, but with Sonic characters.
Yeah,
And
so,
the
like,
I actually, not the spy. The character's name is the character name is TF2. Because you are the spy, the pyro,
Oh,
and I
right,
think it's
yeah,
the heavy.
because you change based on what
And
land you're above.
The
or
gimmick
whatever.
is to it, yeah. So the spy is in the plane. I think the heavy's at airboat because it's Valve, so you have like the Half-Life 2 airboat, and I think pyro is like the car.
Is he in the Jeep from Half-Life? Because that's pretty cool.
Nah, I'm not sure. I can't remember, but yeah. Every time you get ahead in the Sonic All-Star Racing, it just chants your name, so it just goes TF2. TF2. I'm going off topic because I was talking about Dirt, but yes, I wish more people had Sonic All-Star Racing Transform because I think it's a fantastic game.
Like Gemmel and Bradley and that, they've all got it, and they tried to get me to get it. And it's just like, I just am so bad at racing games.
It's an arcade race.
Well, that's the thing, though. At the time, I only had a mouse and keyboard. Now I have a controller. I'd be more intrigued because I can't play a racing game unless
I'm gonna.
it's got one of the.
If you haven't tried Sonic All-Star Racing Transform yet, I
What?
highly recommend.
Can I just say,
I've been playing Dirt 3, but I'm going to recommend Sonic All-Star Racing Transform.
before we untangle
Okay.
ourselves, though, you bailed me into buying it. Like you.
Did you actually buy it?
Yeah. I played it. And,
Oh, get got,
I only
Tony.
have a mouse and keyboard, right?
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't recommend playing mouse and keyboard, but it actually works and actually feels like a
Have
good
you seen
controlling
that
game.
keyboard where you have like kind of joystick-esque keys?
Or like the
where
much
how
you press
far,
it is
how
much
hard you
slower.
press it down means it goes faster or slower. So you can play like racing games with a keyboard, sort of.
That sounds terrible. It sounds like something that Mad Cats would create.
Yeah,
Sounds
it was.
amazing.
I think it was Kickstarter. You can actually get it now. It actually
Really?
exists. Yeah, I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. I think. So.
It sounds terrible.
No, I don't think it.
Why
has.
did he terrible?
Because I'm not... I don't know, the kind of feather granularity you would have with pressing a key down, particularly hard or not, just seems daft.
Well,
Like,
you have
the thing-
mechanical switches.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's different, right? That just has a single actuation point of on or off. That's
Right.
That's how you play. I guess it's not necessarily daft. It's just that right now, for the way that games are designed, it would make use of that, and it would be like,
But I feel like
Well, it'd only be useful for driving.
yeah, but
Yeah.
no, I feel like a game like GTA 5, I'm constantly wanting to switch between my keyboard for the shooting and having my controller for the driving. But if I had a keyboard like that, I wouldn't have to keep switching between
I
the
still
two.
think it would be better to just have a controller though, because it's more granularity that makes
And
sense.
I think it would be
right?
fantastic for Dirt 3, the game we're talking about.
Okay.
Let's bring it back in.
Bring it back to Dirt 3.
Everyone thought it was hilarious because we did a 60s race and everyone went for a different car. I don't remember the car was, but I was...
60s?
Yeah, so it's like set in the 60s, so you have like 60s cars.
Oh right, I didn't realise.
And
that was
everyone else chose the other car, and everyone thought it was funny. I was in a tiny little Mini. I was just driving around in a Mini. It has that kind of
I mean, they did quite well in Rallycross, weirdly enough.
you can have a co.
Did in
You can
60s,
choose
yeah.
a co-driver. You can also voice certain names like Fallout. So Fallout 4, you can choose a name.
Oh, so you've got your bloke next to you saying "shitface, right, left, over crest," or whatever.
I called myself Martin Alvin after my two friends. So.
Martin Alvin
I
about
kept
to make a hard
the
hairpin.
way the reputation
left 20.
the way the like leveling system works in Dirt 3 is that you have fans. So if you win a race, you get more fans. And then apparently, I don't have any fans, but I was losing fans because I did unsporting-like behaviour for some reason. I think because I was crashing into people and honking my horn at everyone. They were just like, well, we're not sponsoring him. He's a bit of a ruffian.
He's a renegade.
So then when you like level up, it says, oh yeah, this sponsor's interested in you, and you unlock kind of new cards. And you can do
Did that work in multiplayer as well?
yeah, you can do this in multiplayer as well. Because
Okay.
there's kind of bonus challenges, so it's like travel to this point at cross the finish line at 103 miles per hour or faster. And it's interesting because I'm like, oh yeah, it says travel at 103 miles per hour, but because all my friends selected it to be they're Swedish, it converts it to kilometers because they use the metric system, and we use both, which they find very funny.
I don't know why either though. It's just like, oh yes, where are you going? Oh, just going down the road. How far is it? Oh, it's about a kilometre away. Okay, what speed will you be doing to get there? Oh, I don't know, about 60 miles an hour. Ah, perfect sense as always.
Yeah, but I actually
As per usual.
did play. I played a bit more. I don't think I talked about this. I had played a bit of Rayman Origins. I love that game. That game has one of the best soundtracks. It is one of the best sounding games I've played in a long time, and it's just a fantastic atmosphere of different sounds and stuff. And I was getting very annoyed because I was doing some of the challenges, and I think Toby was listening to me shouting at the game.
I've thought of another game I've been playing quite a lot of. Civ 6.
Civ 6. You didn't even think to mention one of the biggest
I
releases
just
of the year.
completely spaced. I completely forgot.
Yeah. So tell me about Civ 6.
because
Me and
it kind
Tony
of-
are really interested in that.
It's
yeah,
good.
so I'm curious. First off, how many hours have you played?
I have slept. There is some time.
Okay.
Like the
okay,
first
that's
thing I
good.
did was when I bought it, I walked into work the next day after a weekend, and one of my colleagues came up to me and he just said, Dan, I just feel like I have to check on you. Have you been to sleep at all this weekend? Because obviously he knows how people play Civ. I don't know off the top of my head how much I've sunk into it, but I've
have a look for you. on
I've
Steam.
played more than I thought I would. I
You
thought
will not.
I would. No, I won't because my machine's off downstairs. But I thought basically I would get it and think, okay, this is gonna be interesting, but I don't know whether I'll play it as much as I played Civ 5 because I played a lot with my friends.
You've played it for 37 hours.
Yeah, which is not.
So what were your impressions then, like before you got the game? Like, what were you thinking? Like,
my thoughts going into it were basically like, I'm gonna go into this and I'm gonna try and get a science victory because that's what I always used to do.
Easiest thing to learn, isn't it? It's like a great way to learn Civ if you don't know how to play Civ,
and I thought,
in my opinion.
Let's see how different this is. And then immediately I went into the game and I was like, okay, got my settler, plonked down my city, no worries. Start scoping out what's going on, and there's just so much has changed that makes it a bit more interesting based on what it was. Like the way envoys work to send to city-states to meet your friends. You can no longer, what really confused me is you can no longer actually defend your cities by default. So in Civ 5, if a barbarian or something comes towards your city, then you get the little red target marker over your city. So this city can bombard an enemy unit which is nearby. But in Civ 6, to do that, you need to have researched ancient walls and built them in your city to fight back. So naturally, first game, I'm like, that's fine. I'm not new to Civ. I know what I'm doing. I'll just send this guy around the world. Send my worker off over here. Not my worker, my warrior off. He'll go and explore. And I'll train up another settler. And then I'll start working on bits and pieces over here. Yeah. And immediately, my worker just was halfway across the world, exploring bits and pieces, finding tribal villages, as you do. And some barbarians, some horsemen, just came in. And they were like, oh, it's a nice city you got there. Smash, smash, smash. I was like, fuck. How am I not fighting back? Makes no sense. So that didn't go well. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Civilization died pretty early on, I assume.
What difficulty are you playing on?
Prince, just the standard one to start with. I usually start on Prince and then slowly work
Do you
my
have
way
Raging
up.
Barbs on?
No, because they're pretty raging anyway in Civ 6.
Yeah, they're pretty strong.
They're just... the encampments still spawn all over the place. Like, there's not a set number of encampments. They will just keep spawning in random places as time goes on. The units...
I think it's called... Don't barbarians actually scout you out as well?
They do to a degree, yeah. They've got... The tactics are a bit more better for barbarians, but they still do stupid things like they'll spend the turn going onto a hill when really there's an easier way to get around it and just completely leave their encampment there. It's like
AI
50 gold for me then. Yeah. But it's good. I haven't... Weirdly enough, however, I went in thinking, right, let's go do a science victory or whatever, and immediately found that science is not as easy to see and work with as it was in the old game. Like the aesthetic, by the way, this is slightly different. It's a bit more
cartoony.
Yeah, a bit more
bubbly.
Yeah, almost like that. It's like it's made almost a bit out of Lego.
I think that the map and stuff's like more pastely, isn't it? And then
it does. It looks like
people's screens are more bubbly, cartoony caricatures.
This would be like Roosevelt's got a lot more fat on his face.
It's good. Like you
Rosy cheeks.
I was impressed to discover that there's a Mac version as well, so I can play it. Not that I ever do, but I can play it at work, or I can play it when
You have to encrypt it.
Yeah, whatever. Take my my machine over to Emma's or whatever, and if I'm really bored, I can just sit down. Not that I ever get bored, obviously, but sit down and play Civ, and it's got some really good graphic settings.
People get bored.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that what the like posh people say? It's like you should never be bored. Only stupid people get bored.
Yeah, but you've got the really good-looking animated people in Civ 6, but you can turn those settings off and just have static images like you used to have in Civ 5 as well. So it runs really well, and I'm really enjoying it.
Doesn't one of the Civs have 2 leaders? How does that work?
Greece have 2 leaders. You can choose.
I've not played this. Oh no, I don't think I've played this Greece yet. I didn't know that was the case.
Because I was just wondering, because they seem to do 2 leaders just for one Civ.
Yeah, I think they might be planning to add more like that, but I think it's the only one they
DLC ones.
Yeah.
So would you say Civ 6 is a good enough game to get right now, or would you wait for a Gods and Kings and Brave New World?
Well, it's not actually the DLCs that would say, I don't think you should get this right now. Right now, the game is still 50 Great British pounds or your original equivalent, I think, if you go look on Steam. I'm going to look.
It's probably like 40 quid.
Yeah, so it's £50. And I got it on some bundles, not bundle stores, like Game Planet UK, like one of these oh, this is potentially a Russian mob firm that is running this CD keys thing, and you don't really know where these
Grey
have come
market
from.
games, Daniel.
To a
We're very
degree.
opposed to those on this podcast.
That's fine, because it definitely was. It's all above board. I checked it out, and that man, I've never seen him before in my life. Anyway, I paid like $35 for it, which was
Never
like,
buy used games. even if
so
you
it's
know
not
the man.
used.
Yeah,
Right.
even if you know the man, never buy a used condom.
No, it was £35, and I've gotten already, as you've seen, like 35 hours out of it. So that,
Yeah, I would
£1 an hour.
spend
It's pretty
£35
good.
on
If
it.
you've never seen the promotional advert for never buying a used condom, look it up. He meets a man on the moors and gives him 3 special rubs on his hand. Never buy a used condom.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that what you want to say about Civ?
Yeah, I think so.
Are there any OP Civs like Poland or Japan? Or...
I don't know.
Korea?
Right now,
I think China's open.
decided to go for a bit of a domination victory, or at least
Yeah.
try to. So that involved going to I can't remember. They're probably the equivalent of the Huns in Civ 5, but I can't remember the name of the leader's name. And they get a special unit quite early on, which are called Sakaya horsemen or horse archers. And you train them, and every time you train one, another one appears, and they're like a really good early ranged unit.
They're not Sumerians we're talking about, are we? Or is this the other one?
Maybe, I don't really know, but they get 2 units every time you just train one. I mean, it's just like,
2
okay,
for the price of 1.
yeah, it's like I'll just go over
2
here
for
and ransack
surfers.
this and ransack that. Yeah, it's good. I think
Yeah.
we could spend more time on Civ, but I
just
want
want
to
to
play
ask.
more of it first.
Yeah, what is diplomacy victory like?
I haven't got to it, like I said.
Because that's all I do in Civ 5 is diplomacy victory, or as Dave calls it, cheating.
So what?
He wants to have demolition victory only. Domination
yeah.
victory on only.
No, it's quite interesting actually.
Diplomacy
Politics.
is cheat.
Politics for Civ 6 is quite interesting. Like,
So how
not
does
only
the
just
World
to the
Congress system work?
I've not really got that far. Like, it's been war after
Yeah,
war.
you've got
of
37
attrition.
hours in. But you haven't got to...
Yeah, because
Just
it's been
one
over
more
multiple
turn,
machines, right? So, like, there's a
Right,
machine at
right.
work, my personal laptop, and
Does it not
my
have it on the
machine.
Steam cloud?
No,
to
it
save
doesn't seem
games?
to have cloud saving yet, which is really
That
weird.
fucking sucks.
Yeah. So I've been playing through, but what I have noticed in Civ 6 is you get to learn a lot more insight into what the other leaders think of you and why. Whereas beforehand, in Civ 5, a leader just comes and say, well, I'm denouncing you. And you'd be like, why the hell don't they like me? And maybe you could go ask your advisor and they'd say, like, all right, you have a slightly different government to them, right? This one, the menu will pop out from the side and you can see all of the leaders and whether they're currently happy with you. You can make pacts with them to go to war under certain governments, like defensive pacts like you used to be able to. But you also get warmonger penalties. So like if you are
there's no more global happiness either, is
no, yeah, it's gone. It's like when
Yeah,
if you
replace it
take
with,
a
like,
city,
city amenities.
you don't need to like raise them or like have puppet cities. You must just annex it and say, okay, just go and use it as if it's your city now. But yeah, so you can look at like saying, well, I've got my people over here, and your traders are kind of almost like spies in the other game. They say, rumor has it that they're looking at this government that's going on.
Oh, I see. So information from like any unit that goes into other people's cities in a way.
Yeah,
like,
kind of.
traders.
And
that's cool.
It's difficult to explain. Like the leaders on the World Congress kind of screen, or who all the different leaders are, basically have their own hidden agendas.
Right.
But you can't figure out what those are until you're either more friendly with them or you have better techs, and then you can figure out roughly what they're beelining for, right? So you say, well, he's
So
very
this
much
is
against science.
more of the AI single player experience.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting the way it works, but you can like say, for example, there are different reasons for going to war now. For example, right? So
Yeah,
say
you just like
someone
like,
takes
declare it
a
outright.
city from me, and then 30 turns of peace pass, and I go back to war with them after I've built an army or whatever, I can declare just a standard war that's like, surprise war, and you get a bit of warmonger penalty. Or alternatively, you can say, I'm going to war and I'm announcing to the world the reason why I'm going to war is you occupy one of my cities and I'm taking it back.
So you don't get a warmonger penalty.
It's quite interesting. So it's like, you settled too close to me, or you annexed this city-state I was suzerain of.
See, I always did diplomatic victories because I didn't find the combat of Civ 5 all that interesting.
The difficulty I find with Civ 5 trying to do the diplomatic victories, I find it really hard to turtle. Like, I never know properly what all the tile yields mean. I'm just like, let's build and stay here and try and live my own life.
So the best thing to do is to pick, like, Poland or I love Arabia, because all you do is you get gold. You get double gold on trading posts as Arabia and extra gold from oil. And all you want to do for a diplomatic victory is amass as much gold as possible, and then you just buy city-states straight up. So then you get them to vote for you.
Yeah, you can't
do that anymore. You can't actually buy city-states. It's all based on envoys. So you slowly generate envoys.
You have to complete quests for them.
And by either...
So you have to go around wooing different city-states.
Kind of, but you don't do it in a way that you think. You basically just you look at what their tasks are, and it usually aligns with what you're doing. And what you'll also find as well is the techs, as you go through the tech tree, will have little weird half icons to them, and you can boost your research towards getting that thing by completing sort of subtasks. So there might be one underneath it that says train 2 archers, and suddenly your knowledge of machinery to get crossbowmen is massively boosted by 8 turns.
So they're kind of like side quests.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It makes it much more obvious about which ones you should go down on a tech tree, because it's like, I know I've already boosted that one, so I'll get done quicker. Go ahead, Tony.
I'd say the biggest complaints I've seen, of the legit reviews on Steam, a lot of it is just it's just like Civ 5 when it's not. One of the biggest complaints is the friendship system and how other leaders look at you, in single player. People say it's really difficult to make friends with people. I'm not sure if that's actually the case, or it's just
See, weirdly enough,
because they've changed the game, so each leader has its own rules now.
Yeah.
So it might just be because they're not misaligning with them. For instance, one of the Greek leaders hates it if you have more a bigger standing.
Yeah, pretty much.
With a city state than he does.
Weirdly enough, I found with Peter, for example, when I was playing on the same map as
Moran,
Russia. No, right,
yeah,
Peter
Russia.
or something, right?
Great Peter of Russia.
Peter of Russia.
Yeah, he basically just saw that I had some science happening and a little bit of war was going on. He was just like, you seem like a person who knows what they're doing. Let's be best friends. Infinite horses for me then. That's fine.
That's something, I feel like people don't understand how the system's working, so they complain it's not like Civ 5.
It's also...
I think it is honestly, each Civ has their own agenda, and they like you for if you do the same thing as them.
Also, one thing that I found interesting is, at the moment, it seems like traders are really, really strong. Because every time you build a city or you do some kind of tech, lots of them seem to give you additional trading posts or additional capability for more traders. And basically you must construct additional traders. The more traders you trade, I was playing as on the one on my personal laptop is as Victoria, not Victoria. Do I mean Victoria? Elizabeth.
No, it's Victoria in this game. If you're playing England, it's Victoria.
Okay, I can't actually remember. One of them. And I just basically had enough money to win wars whenever I wanted. I could just slowly do what I wanted and buy units whenever someone went to war with me. So suddenly these units would just pop up and be like, yo, because I was getting thousands of gold a turn, which is...
Isn't gold less impactful in Civ 6 though?
You can still buy lots of... you still buy tiles with gold, still buy units with gold, you can purchase with faith still, if you're certain sort of have those sort of abilities. But I don't think it's any less strong. It's less strong on the city-state front, but it's still really useful for quite frequently I've had civs go to war with me, and then they're like, yo, seriously regret my decisions now. Didn't realise that you were not a one-man army. I am gonna back out. Can I please pay you this much gold to have it? But in those instances, it's actually just more I don't really... If you're the person who's trying to stop being at peace with them, giving them gold to do that is really no big great shakes because we've got so much of it, right? Yeah. So traders almost seem a bit broken. There's way too much money in the game if you know how to just build as many traders as necessary.
But surely if you're against a single player another
Yeah,
a human
like I said-
person. They can deal with that a lot better.
Yeah.
They can take them out and things.
All
whereas
of
AI
this-
seems to be badly coded.
All of this is based on single player stuff. Like I've only played a
Yeah.
few multiplayer games with Gemmel, and he's you can't. Weirdly enough, there's a few things you can't do as standard anymore. Like you can't rename your cities. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't do friendly, like team-based games. But you can, right? This is the weird thing. You just have to edit a bunch of properties files, like in
INI files.
yeah. And then you can suddenly do it. So they obviously planned to put that in, but for some reason just not enabled.
It'll probably be an update in the future.
It's
Yeah.
going to be in Kings and Gods, the new Civ
No,
6
probably
be a
free
expansion.
update.
You can now name your cities. Please give us $20 more.
No, they're usually quite good with them free updates though.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
A little bit of a side though. Do settlers require a population from the city you build them in, or is that I can't remember if that was a thing or not in Civ 6.
I don't actually remember. I know you can't do the single settler, never settle sort of challenge. It's basically impossible.
Oh really?
You can't be Germany.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I think basically you don't discover techs in tribal villages anymore. So on basically
right.
the first turn, unless you happen to be right next to another settler, you're not taking that settler city with just a single warrior. It just won't happen.
Really?
So
Okay.
even like one guy tried and he basically had to cheat in extra units in order to do it, and he still just basically couldn't.
So
do it.
what actually happens then? Like what?
Well, if you have just the warrior basically just gets killed every time before he can find
Oh.
another city. So
Okay.
it's just not very strong. If you cheat in extra archers, for example, then yeah, you kind of can, but it just
Right,
doesn't seem
okay.
possible.
Well, it wasn't that much of interesting gameplay there.
Well, that's what people do, though, right? Anyway, they play Civ to the point where they're like, okay, I'm bored with this now because I'm quite good at it and I understand how to win. So they start making their own weird win conditions, right? Like,
Yeah,
I only
because-
want to have one city.
So there's the Raging Barbarian Challenge of Germany, where you only have one unit, and then you can only build an army by because they have the passive where whenever they defeat a barbarian
The
camp,
unit is
you
theirs or whatever.
you gain the barbarians,
Yeah,
and then you'd have to win through a domination victory, basically. So
Yeah.
that was like one of the challenges of 5.
yeah. The units are pretty cool. The tech tree's interesting. Like, it doesn't end at like
Okay.
giant death robots anymore. It goes up to like social networking. And
Oh yeah, they stopped before future text. For some
Yeah.
reason.
So one of the like
I think
win
by the
conditions is
point
to
you
put
get
man
to
on the
like
moon.
XComs and stuff, you
Yeah,
you don't really need it.
No.
No, exactly.
And-
The civic tree that's quite cool as well. Though I actually really prefer that compared to the social policies. From
Yeah,
Civ
the
5.
civics are really interesting. Actually,
I love how it's like its own little tree. I really love that because you have to use culture for other stuff, yet you pump it into that as well. Don't
Yeah, it's kind of cool. You have like cities generally need like only two things now. They need like food, amenities, and housing. And
Yeah.
then if you don't provide them with that, then it's almost like you get a bit of unrest, a bit of unhappiness from the old game, and like you might get units popping up that will start attacking internally.
Yeah.
But yeah, the civics are quite cool. So because you have to research the civics in a tree to unlock certain governments. Certain governments have specific policies you can assign. The policies could be like, if you're a monarchy, then you can have like, this is my one slot for military stuff, 2 for like commerce, 1 for what do they call it? It's like government, sort of like talking, like communication almost.
Well, diplomacy. Or
Diplomacy, yeah, that's it. Thanks. And
Or
then the
foreign
last one's like
affairs.
a wild card slot. And the way you mix and match them is really cool because you can like pay slightly extra to unlock and change all of your policies for that turn, or when you discover a new civic, you can just change them all for free.
Switch
So-
them out.
And you find yourself constantly changing them because in the
Yeah, I
very
think
beginning of the game,
really
it's like,
good, like,
oh,
mini
this
game.
thing for like barbarians right now is really useful because I'm going on the
But then
screen
it
trying to
becomes a
kill
bit
them.
irrelevant.
And it's like,
the later
yeah,
you
barbarians
go.
are a bit rubbish these days. And that's like, oh, but extra gold from these trade routes in my capital, that's really useful. I'll throw that one in there. And they progressively get really
Kind
good.
of like switching out talents or something.
Yeah, kind of. It's pretty interesting. It's a good game. I just wouldn't pay 50 quid for it. That's
But
my
you
review
did.
in a
I played.
nutshell.
You
I
did
did.
play 50 quid.
35.
I paid 35.
Well, you grey marketed.
Somebody else paid 50 quid for it.
Okay, well, the less we say about that, the better. But you've seen Boglin news, you've seen Fuck Konami, Peter Molyneux news. He's back at it with another game, The Trail. Toby, you have played some of.
I
this
have
game.
played it. Yes.
Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
I'm going to
Okay.
play it while Tony talks about it.
I'll turn your sound.
it's tricky to like start describing, but like obviously there'll be images and things like on screen at the moment, so it make more sense.
Yeah, we've got the trailer playing right now.
Yeah.
The trail.
But yeah, you're a hiker basically, but you start with like nothing. Like when you start off for some reason, I don't know what. But then like it sends you through the story. So you start as a character. You choose what you look like. You then you go through like the quest line to actually figure out what you're actually doing. Then all you do is like move your finger forwards, and then like you then control the speed so you don't run out of energy before you get to the next camp, basically. So it's like a energy management game at that point at the start, and then it teaches you the crafting. And I say that the voice acting is it's pretty good. Like for a free game on I got an Android system,
free
it's
to
pretty
play.
Good. Free with paid elements.
There's definitely a lot of microtransactions. I think it was reported they went up to quite a lot of money. Like,
cause I think there's like a settlement system. I haven't got that far yet, but there's a settlement system. I think that's where all the waiting happens and where you have to pay money for. But no, I don't know. I seem like the art style is actually really nice. Like, I really actually quite like the art style. You can
it's
actually
quite
look around.
Firewatchy.
Yeah. You can legitimately look around at the landscape though. It's actually quite nice
kind
to
of
do
voxely.
The character models are pretty interesting as well.
The camera keeps moving for me into really random places to show me that stuff's going on. And it's taking like nicer views and stuff, which is kind of
It's an art style that lots of games have been using recently, isn't it? It's
I think it's because it's easy to render, so it's like it's not texture based. It's more based upon voxels.
Yeah. Quite interesting. Do you want to explain how the gameplay works then, Toby? Because that's quite confusing.
What, like how you
trade and stuff?
I haven't got to the trading part. That's where it crashed, Joe.
Oh, okay. So we've been trying to install and play this game for ages, and I can't install it on my tablet or my phone because they're too old. And
when I tried to do it, for whatever reason, they've got like a weird install setup on the Android system where like, you have to download
shoes.
So you download like 10%, then it has to then do an install. Then there's another 10%, and I think mine kept failing at the second 10%.
So you're kind of walking around on rails, and you have an energy system, and you kind of collect resources, and then you put them on a conveyor belt with other people who are playing the game, and then you have to try and trade them. Yeah. It's a game only Peter could understand by the sounds of it.
Well, he's the lead coder, so he programmed the game.
Does he code anymore, or is he the hype and developer? He's like the hype and
he's chief,
the visionary chief, the head Buddha.
He's like a chief cop. Like he doesn't go out on the streets anymore.
He's got a desk job of. He didn't even hype this game though. This game literally came out of nowhere. I was reading something, and then on a tangent I clicked on something. It said, "Oh yeah, the trail just came out on fucking Android," and I was like, "What? I've heard nothing about this because I barely heard it being announced, and then it's been actually released just out of nowhere." And Peter's been very quiet. He actually started speaking on Twitter again.
Only after it was released, though.
He said because he hadn't had a tweet from like January saying he was hacked, and now he's got another tweet out saying, "I haven't been hacked. My new game's out." He literally said, "I haven't been hacked. In order to announce that today marks the release of the trail on iOS and Android, I am proud to have worked with all of the 22 cans." So, I mean, I don't think he'll ever tweet anything again for his hate of social media and most people critics.
Well, it's not their fault. It's more of his fault for over-promising. But sure, we'll not go into that, Peter.
Yeah, because they're like, oh yeah, people just keep bashing on Peter Molyneux with good reason, to be honest with you.
It's like going to like a criminal. Oh, they just keep bashing on the criminal in court. Well, yeah, he's committed crimes.
I mean, he burnt me with a Kinect. He burnt Toby with Goddess. You know, where will he stop?
Goddess could have been good, Peter.
Where will it stop? Is that what we want to say about Trail? because
No,
I
we've got
have
an
not played
amazing
it.
review of it on the Android.
Oh
store, Joe.
yeah, so Toby picked out a review of it that he thought was really funny because I was wondering why it was getting a lot of good reviews. It was like
Yeah, I
4-star
tried to find something
reviews
negative. It took me ages to find a negative.
because it was getting like 4-star reviews, and I was like, wait a minute, it doesn't.
Actually,
Goddess also
can I-
has like 4-star reviews.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Can I
hell's
just
going
say-
on? What?
can I just say, there's a little tantrum here.
Yeah.
Google, why can I not like search for like stars of reviews? Why can I only go in relevant order? Why can't I like search like 1-star reviews?
They don't
That's a
want you
bit
to
cheeky.
see them.
Yeah, exactly.
So Toby picked out a review that said, it kind of sounds like me reviewing it, doesn't it?
It sounds just like you.
Peter Molyneux, I'm out. So far, just about every Peter Molyneux game has been far too ambitious, and I can already tell you that this game is just that. The game barely runs on a phone. I get maybe 10 frames consistently, and there are almost no way to get favors or whatever the horseshoes are, and the only way to get more storage space is favors. This game will be supported from another few months, then the game will be dropped, just like Goddess. Oh, burnt! Reply
Don't
from
worry.
Congregate.
22 cans replied to this.
Hello, can you contact our support team at the link below
I'll be the congregate
so we
team.
can investigate the technical problem further?
It's hello. Can you contact IOE support team at the link below?
22 cans. So the publisher's Congregate
What the
and
fuck is
the
that
developer
with the
is
name?
22 cans.
What the fuck is
Yeah.
up with the name of that development studio as well?
The
What,
22
22?
cans.
Is it just like, is that Peter counting down until all of the cans
Yeah.
have been shot off the walls?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
22 cans of games on the wall, 22 cans of games.
Well-
You load the gun, you shoot Milo down, and now where's Milo? I wanna
It's
know,
been
Peter.
getting good. I think this is the first phone game, maybe, from the publisher Congregate, because they were a big
I found it
Flash
really
game
weird. Yeah, they
website.
used to be massive on Flash games.
No,
Like,
there's a few Congregate stuff on Android.
Yeah, they've moved over to mobile stuff recently.
Yeah.
well, that's the thing. It switched really, didn't it? It's like a case of look at all our Flash stuff on this website, and ignore all the ads which are conveniently around it, which maybe someone accidentally clicks over something and gives us some money. Whereas now they're like, we'll just stuff those ads into the App Store or charge for it on an App Store.
Yeah.
Smart.
Try
Well,
making more money.
the trail is out now. It's free to play, so you can try it, but it seems to be loaded with microtransactions like every other mobile game these days.
It's good to look around though. Like if that's all you want from it, then you probably won't need to pay for that. But there might be an annoying wall at some point as these premium games have. So be wary.
And we'll see if in a couple of months Peter's still getting rave reviews for this, or if he just abandons it like he did Goddess.
Yeah, I would say like Peter is pretty like all his studios are really bad at like supporting games like far into the life cycle of a game, whereas other developers are a lot better. Like, Peter, can you stick with this one, please?
Right, now you're going to talk about the board game this week, Imploding Kittens, the expansion for Exploding Kittens.
This is the first expansion for the biggest ever backed project on Kickstarter, which was, of course, Exploding Kittens. We've discussed Exploding Kittens on the podcast before.
And we had some good things to say, and we had some improvements. That
We
could be
did.
made
We
to the
suggested
game.
improvements. And now, it seems we were
They've
not the
listened to us.
only people.
They've listened to the podcast.
Because
they're huge fans.
They are massive fans, and they have basically just listened to that episode and implemented every single one of our suggestions and then some.
Yeah.
So, on the podcast previous, we said it'd be really good if you could reverse the flow like you can in Uno. That's now a card in there. There's the reverse card. Does exactly
So either
like
they've
you
listened
expect.
to us or they looked at Uno.
Yeah.
And I mean, shush, Tony. It's
Uno's a
definitely
small
us.
game.
It's definitely
Yeah.
us. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we're
rubbish.
much bigger than Uno.
We're huge. We're bigger than Uno. I think we should have that as the name
That's
of
a
the
quote.
title. Of the
We are
podcast.
video games. We're bigger than Uno. That could be the
That is-
title
yeah.
for this episode.
So there's the reverse card, which changes the flow of the order, which was obviously one of the issues we had with Exploding Kittens was you could only really ever target the person to your left. So now you can target the people to your left and your right. But also there is another card called the Targeted Attack. So in our first review we explained that we'll go very quickly over the rough concept of Exploding Kittens. Basically, if you want the full in-depth review, go listen to our first podcast where we had board games discussed, and I think the first one we did was Exploding Kittens. There are
Shush.
one less than the next. Shush. There is one less then the number of people playing of Exploding Kittens in the deck shuffled in randomly. If you come across the Exploding Kitten, if you have no way to defuse it, then you're out. If you do defuse it, then it goes back in the deck somewhere you decide. You have cards which basically impact the game in other ways. You can either steal cards from players. Sometimes you can force other players to take multiple goes. You can skip your go. You can see what cards are coming up, etc. So the way that Imploding Kittens works is it just adds a bunch more, like 20-odd new cards.
Do you explain how the kitten and the diffuse works?
Yeah, so basically like you diffuse the kitten goes into the deck and you choose where, but you haven't died, basically the diffuse disappears. And then when you come across an Exploding Kitten, you don't have a diffuse, then it blows up and you're out. And then it slowly eliminates one person until there's only one person left and that person is the winner. So, Imploding Kittens adds one extra Exploding Kitten, except it's not, and we'll come back to that. It adds a reverse card, which just changes the flow, so much like Uno. Mm-hmm. It adds a targeted attack, which, like the attack card from the initial Exploding Kittens games, forces a player of your choice to take 2 goes.
Reversing can also be used as a skip if there's only 2 of you left, and using it ends your turn. You don't have to draw a card.
Yeah, well, only in the 2-player game.
Yeah.
In the normal game, it actually just reverses it. So if you were attacked, for example, you could play the reverse, but it doesn't end your go.
Yeah, you're just reversing the flow.
Yeah. So the targeted attack means that you, instead of having only person to the left or to the right, you can then say, we're in a circle of 5 people. I could not normally affect the person who maybe I'm sat opposite, but I can now. Mm-hmm. There is also what is called the Feral Cat. The Feral Cat is just a blank picture card,
it's like
but
a joker
it
card.
is a joker for other cats. So if you have a card which in the original Exploding Kittens was just a picture card, essentially, if you get 2 of those, then you can use those cards as together to discard them and steal someone else's card of your choice. But the Feral Cat can be used basically as a copy of any one. So I could have a Feral Cat and a Taco Cat, and it's essentially the same as me having 2 Taco Cats.
Because snapping lets you take a card from somebody else's hand, which could be a diffuse or something useful. And I just got that pun. It's because it's a feral cat, and you say deuces are wild. It's a wild card.
Yeah,
it's a feral
it's literally
cat.
a wild card. Yeah,
wow. It's a wild card. It's a wild cat.
Yes.
Oh my god, I got that pun.
So that's one of the cards which is in there. We've got the target attack. We've got the reverse. We've also now got. When we were on the podcast, we said,
change
you know
the
what would be
future.
Cool? Yeah, it'd be good if we could see what's coming up with the 3 cards, but then change the order. Now there is an alter the future card.
They've got a scroller card.
They do.
I mean, sorry.
You basically can just make
it's
it
not
so
magic,
that
Danny.
it doesn't end your term. So you can give yourself a good card, put the next one to be rubbish, and then another card somewhere else or whatever, right? So basically, you take top 3 cards, look at them, put them back in the order you want them to come up. And there is another one I think I'm forgetting.
No.
I'm sure there is.
You're just going to talk about the Imploding.
No, I'm sure there's another one.
There's reverse, look at the top cards and change them, the feral cat, and the targeted attack. I think that's the only 4.
Yeah, you're probably right. If there's another one, then we will find out and go over it. But the last card which is added is the Imploding Kitten. And the Imploding Kitten, unlike an Exploding Kitten,
implodes and stuff.
It basically, but the way it does so is that you come across it like you would a normal Exploding Kitten. You look at it, you have a look at it and turn it face. Well, you'll come across the card.
The first time you come across it, you do not look at it like a normal Exploding Kitten at all.
Well, you do in a way. Basically, you don't know what it is, but essentially, it's bad. Because things are about to get a bit hairy.
But nothing happens, do you?
You look at the card, it's turned face up, right? So you then read it, and if you drew it from being face down, which you will the first time it's drawn, then all that happens is you then place that card back, without using a diffuse, back into the deck, face up somewhere, your choice. It's supposed to be in secret.
So the first time you actually draw the Imploding Kitten, it doesn't have a negative effect and can also be kind of good if you choose to put it somewhere where you know your opponent's going to draw it.
The second time the Imploding Kitten comes up, if a player has to draw the Imploding Kitten, they are out. The Imploding Kitten cannot be diffused.
So the card for this...
that's the other one. Draw from the bottom.
Oh, yes, of course. That's the one I forgot. So there's 5. So another thing you can do is go, there's an Imploding Kitten on the top, I'm going to draw from the bottom of the deck instead.
Yep.
That's quite interesting as well. But the Imploding Kitten card art's quite interesting because he's like the size
It's all
of
still done by the
of like a planet and just exploding. And you can't
basically
diffuse.
a black hole in the cat's mouth.
You can't diffuse it. So when we were playing just before the podcast, I had 2 diffusers in my hand, but I had to draw the Imploding Kitten, which means I lost.
Yep.
GG.
And if you play with more people,
No,
the Imploding Kitten might not necessarily come up in the end of the game. It might be at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know if you shuffled it well, because I think the Imploding Kitten was like the second card in the deck.
Yeah, when it's shuffled, it's supposed to be a blind shuffle as well, so that if you do it under the table, for example, then you might accidentally put it back on the top and not know, and then you just bring it back up, you're like, well, fuck.
Shit.
So that's Imploding Kittens. It adds
and
a few other things as well.
Cone of Shame.
It comes with the instructions for the new game. It comes with 20 new cards, and it comes in a box, which I kid you not is look at your keyboard, Tony.
Well, we'll have a picture of it for the viewers of what it looks like.
It's the size of your keyboard.
Wait,
the box, yes, because it also comes with the Cone of Shame.
The dance cap.
If you've ever
Cone of Shame.
If you've ever had a cat or a dog, and they've gone to the vet and they have
If you've
that
seen
cone
it-
around them,
That
so
is
they
the Cone
can't
of
bite
Shame.
their
The
stitches.
inverse dance cap. Okay.
Yeah, so if you've ever seen Up, the Cone of Shame is referred to as the kind of special cone they put around dogs and cats so they can't bite out their own stitches or whatever when they are wearing the Cone of Shame. The Cone of Shame is put on to the first person to ask whose go it is. If they ask whose go it is, you give them the Cone of Shame, and it has some handy markings on it that say, we're going this way. And if it gets changed, then you change it round to the other side.
So
It
when
says,
you're
"We're
playing
going
with
the
lots
other
of
way."
people, it's going to get really confusing whose go it is. So the first person to go whose go it is, they're going to be shamed and made to show everyone which way the it's going.
Which is quite an interesting one. But even better than that, they have acknowledged the fact now that the boxes originally that they shipped out Exploding Kittens with when it came to the retail release were actually quite shallow. And they could only hold basically the cards which you bought with it, which was kind of a design flaw because they knew they were going to make expansions.
Yeah.
So what they do is they ship out a little piece of plastic, and this sounds really dumb, but it actually works really well, that they explain you take out the insert from the existing box, you flip that out upside down, put it back in the box, put this new piece of plastic in, and then suddenly you have a really deep well to keep all of your cards and still have them separate. So it makes the existing boxes able to hold more cards. This is why I like what they do with Exploding Kittens, because they think these things through, right?
Yeah.
They
Well,
listen to
not
the
the first
feedback
time
which
round,
people...
but the
No,
feedback.
but they listened to the feedback which people kind of gave them and decided, okay, yeah, that was dumb, but we fixed it
And
somehow.
I think if you go on Board Game Geek, because they have like a weight rating, which means how difficult it is to understand. I think Exploding Kittens has like a 1
it's
weight,
really
which
easy.
is really easy to understand.
When I went to work, there's a guy that I used to work with who was a grad called Struan, and he tried to explain Exploding Kittens to all of the other grads once, and they just didn't get it. They didn't know what they were doing. He really hyped it up to them as being the best game ever.
Did he say it was Uno?
And they basically said, I don't get it, it doesn't seem that interesting. Struan left. About a year later, I came in with Exploding Kittens, explained it in one sitting, and they loved it. I don't understand how Struan managed to mess it up.
Should have just said
But
it was
Struan's
Uno
out
with
there.
cats.
So how much is the expansion though?
So the
Going
expansion,
away from
what, just shaming Struan? No, I mean,
Yeah.
that is what we need
Hang
to
on,
do.
I don't know him, but fuck you, Stru.
So the Imploding Kittens comes in a massive box, which quite nicely says on the side, the box is this big because it's an expansion. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And it's £12, which actually, for
Okay,
only
that's
20
pretty good.
cards, doesn't sound that great.
yeah, but they get a dance cap.
You do, you get a massive cone of shame.
Are they good quality cards? They're not slippery?
No, they are the same cardstock quality as the ones which we had before, which actually were very good.
Yeah.
On the whole, I've had way more than like £12 worth of enjoyment out of the original Exploding Kittens. Like, my copy cost me £15 for the original.
Yeah.
This expansion already, I think I've gotten. We played one game and it's already been.
It's pretty lit, dude.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Tony, can you add Struan to the list of podcast enemies I've made on the show with Peter and David and
I'll
Sean
find
Murray.
you a picture of Struan and send it
See
to him
if
so
we
he just
wanna
have his
fight.
picture.
Can I just say, if you want more in-depth detail on how to play this game, it's episode 7, I think.
Nice.
Right.
So
It's-
listen to episode 7.
Exploding Kittens.
Yeah, it has it on the thumbnail, I believe. So
Nice.
you'll be able to see which one it is. Tony, have we sold this board game to you? The
Oh
answer
yeah,
is
this sounds
yes.
much better. It sounds much more like Uno.
'Cause it sounds
but better.
amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It has added more RNGesus.
I
Therefore, it
think, I
has been
think
made
the
better.
only board game you haven't been sold on is Shit Charades, but that's
Yeah.
because I only ever called it Shit Charades.
No.
Because
It sounds terrible.
Because it is.
I
Shit
hate charades.
So when I come back next time for board games, we will be covering Bang the Bullet.
It's the shape of a bullet, isn't it?
It is. The
The
cards all
box.
come in a massive, ginormous
People
bullet.
who make board games love puns and
They do.
role playing and shit. So
It's great.
now we're going to talk about the thing Daniel loves to talk about every week.
It's the Overwatch only podcast.
Overwatch. So the first thing we'll talk about that they announced at BlizzCon, Sombra was announced.
She was. It was really good. They were going through just a general overview of how well Overwatch has been doing. Jeff Kaplan's on stage, like, I think it was Jeff anyway. They're like, I'm just going to play this quick video to show how Overwatch has progressed.
I was watching it live, but you were out.
No, I was out at the time, and they were like, "This is how we've progressed over the past, I think it may even be a year at this point." That Overwatch
They've been
has
out. It came out about April.
Oh, okay,
so it's
not
not a
quite,
year
but it's
yet.
been out for a while now, and it's still a really impressive game. I'm really enjoying it a lot. It's like my most played game.
I love it. It's good.
And so they play this thing, and Jeff Kaplan's like, "Yeah, we've had this many people playing, and we're really excited to give feedback." And suddenly,
Doing
like,
your Jeff Kaplan
yeah,
impersonation.
and then the screen just starts going nuts, and everyone in the crowd
Everyone
just
just like,
instantly knows
Sombra.
what's gone. They're like, "Oh, Sombra!"
You've
And,
teased this fucking ARG of Sombra for
And Joe was-
fucking weeks.
Joe was saying, like, Twitch chat's going mad, saying either Sombra is about to be revealed, or Blizzard is having serious
having technical
difficulties,
issues like they do every
which is
year.
actually also entirely possible. But then no, yeah, they just
They
went.
actually had a fantastic show this year. I didn't see any problems on the technical side.
Yeah, apart from
Maybe-
like forced ones, which were on purpose. Like, that just don't
Yeah,
really count.
but maybe the choice of people hosting this stuff was a lot
Mm.
more fun. Though.
Well, there's weird commentator people.
So going off a tangent and not letting Dan talk about Overwatch, the
Bastard!
so every year they have like a huge concert at Blizzard, and this year were having Weird Al Yankovic on.
Oh yeah, I saw that he was the Blizzard band this year.
So in between every
Announcement.
in between every song that Weird Al Yankovic was on, they had these two weird celebrity commentator people that I didn't know who they were, but one of them was like, "Oh yes, I'm Jerry Assange, Julian Assange's brother," and he's trying to make these really awful jokes, and it just wasn't working at all.
Just ditch it. It's crap.
And they had is it I think it's Thomas Middleditch, I think is his name. He was doing the BlizzCon costume contest, which was really huge because people love the costume contest. There was a guy in like a giant Reinhardt costume.
Yeah, they're always
and
impressive.
everything, and he had no idea because he was just like joking, like, "I wish I played more Blizzard games. I don't know who this person is." Like, Chromie from World of Warcraft comes on. He goes, "It's Craig, Christie, they're dressed up as someone." And these people have been waiting all year just to come onto the BlizzCon. These are like professional cosplayer people who've been waiting all year just to be in the BlizzCon competition, and he's just like, "I don't know who you are or why I'm here."
Yeah.
But Blizzard's like,
But I get
he's a
paid.
celebrity. He's on that nerdy Silicon Valley. Get him on.
I thought I was really impressed with all of the cosplay, actually, especially the Overwatch ones. Like, some of the best ones I've seen are like a guy in a massive Reinhardt one, and then one with the Baldric armor, like the skin you can get in it, and they're just going up to each other and like slowly stomping up to it, saying, "I am Reinhardt," and another goes, "I am Reinhardt," and then suddenly the guy that voices Reinhardt just jumps out and goes, "I am Reinhardt, catchphrase," or whatever. And it's just
Yeah,
really
they always
good
get him
watch.
to do the Reinhardt voice. He seems, out of every single one of the Overwatch
He's the
actors,
most into
Reinhardt
it.
just loves being
Yeah,
Reinhardt.
he's just like, and he's really short as well, which is the funniest thing.
They did a panel of all the
Yeah,
voice
I
actors
saw that
as
when
well.
they're just like getting them to say their favourite lines. And
Apparently
get,
Diva has a boyfriend, Daniel.
it's over. It's
over.
fine. It's over now.
So
So
It's
Sombra,
all over now.
Suddenly,
Sombra is
we're
really
watching
cool.
this trailer, and then suddenly the screen goes, blah, 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 and then they launch straight into an animated
Toby's
short.
favourite thing,
of
the animated
Sombra.
shorts of Overwatch.
They're so good. They really are. They're like
Have you
Pixar.
seen the
I just-
Sombra one,
I just-
Toby?
No, I haven't actually.
Well, I
I just
think
really
you should
hated
watch
the.
it. because he doesn't play Overwatch, but I'll just say I've shown him the animated shorts. He didn't like the Widowmaker or the Tracer one because he was like, "Oh, it's an awful French accent. It's an awful English accent." But it's kind of meant to be that way, so you understand where they're from instantly.
I didn't like the
it's
concept
part of the
that
sound
either,
design of the game.
Yeah, that was my only problem with that though.
It's not Torbjorn, it's Torbjorn.
You mean dwarf porn?
Yeah, that's the one.
Dwarf porn.
But Toby, you're going to play Overwatch. I'm going to force you to play because there's a free weekend.
There is
this weekend.
It is
the 18th of November, I think it is. So, Toby, you are playing Overwatch.
It's great.
And you're going to watch all the animated shorts.
That's what I literally made Emma do that this weekend.
I think I've shown him like almost all of them. I just don't think he's seen the Sombra one.
Yeah, there's
you like the animated shorts, don't you, Tony?
No, I actually do. Yeah, like I have
good.
problems with the Widowmaker and the Tracer one.
He just thinks
not
that the fake
just the sound
accents
design.
are annoying.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
can't have a
it's not
problem
my
with
only
the
problem with that.
can't have a problem with the Bastion one though because there's no speaking in that.
No, the Bastion was amazing.
The Bastion one is
right.
Like
that's my favourite one so far.
So anyway, stop tangerining. They start playing this video. It starts cracking up. They launch straight into the animated short for Sombra.
Tony?
You shut up.
I would love Mark's pizza.
And so then it launches straight into it, and it starts off, and it's Sombra basically there, and everyone understands and recognises her instantly because her art stuff was leaked.
They've already leaked all her shit intentionally, probably because she's a hacking character. So
and then you slowly get a little bit of information about what her abilities are going to be because she goes invisible at one point. She's pretty quick. She's got a massive SMG. She can teleport. She's a really odd character, but her main ability is the ability to hack things. So Sombra is an offensive character. She has 200 health, an SMG that has 660 ammunition in the clip, and has a massive
about
spread.
20 bullets to kill a 200 health target.
Yeah, it's
very
a massive
close
spread,
range.
and it has to be close range. Interesting point, by the way. Look at the clip, the numbers on her ammo counter.
Yeah.
That's hex. That's hex from 60 down to 0. That's
I
really cool.
I don't know hex.
I see. Well, I did. No, I get these things.
Hexadecimal.
Yeah, it's hexadecimal. And it goes down from 60 to 0 as this goes down. It's really cool. Anyway,
that's cool. Yeah.
So she's an offensive character, 200 hit points, 60 damage with an SMG, and her main abilities include 60 bullets. Yeah, sorry. Her main abilities include the ability to go invisible, which makes her faster and completely invisible to all players except incredibly close up.
I will say that I'm so glad Blizzard did invisibility this way because after playing Heroes of the Storm and having Nova permanently invisible, it's so fucking annoying. It's just ridiculous. But now, as long as you do damage to Sombra, she can't just ignore you.
It's not like an escape route, it's a get into position sort of thing. Sombra goes invisible, and if she takes damage, she's immediately revealed instantly. And if she's taking damage, she also cannot recloak. She can try, but she'll just take more damage. So a target like a Bastion just shooting her and peppering her is just going to destroy any character, really. Her main ability makes her faster, as well as being invisible, so she can get into places a lot quicker. She also has a translocator.
She can throw that while in stealth.
Yep, and that allows... It basically lands. Enemies can see that, but can't destroy it, which allows her to instantly teleport somewhere where it lands, and she can do it whilst it's mid-flight as well, so she can throw it into the air and teleport to that point. She has the ability to hack things.
That's her passive.
And
right-click.
It's not a passive because it's more of an active because you have to actually do it.
Well, that is in her passive slot. She
doesn't have it.
The hacking is her passive.
Kinda. It's the way that she basically works is she can either hack people, which stops them from using their abilities for 6 seconds or something, which seems like a really long time for a lot of the characters. But if characters have passives, then it doesn't stop those. So Genji can still wall climb, for example.
It stops Lucio's passive healing and stuff.
It stops his healing. I'm not sure actually about Lucio's healing.
No, I know for sure it stops his passive healing.
It doesn't stop him wall riding, for example. Doesn't stop Genji from wall climbing.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop Genji from double jumping.
Yep. Anything like that. It does stop Tracer from blinking, for example. It stops her from recalling. If there's anything that's a card that you have to press, that just stops outright.
It's really weird the stuff she can hack though, because
so that's people. She can also hack turrets.
Yeah, it disables them.
Disables them for a short period of time.
She cannot hack molten core turrets, I don't think.
She can hack the turret.
She can't hack teleporters or Symmetra.
No, Symmetra turret she can't hack.
So
but
I've tested a bunch of this on the PTR.
nobody actually really cares about Symmetra turrets because you just literally blow on them and they blow up.
And she's been buffed on the PTR. And Torbjorn has been buffed.
Dwarfborn has been buffed.
Yeah.
That's true. That's going to be a pain. And so people, and most interesting right now for the meta, it looks like health kits can be hacked. And if Sombra hacks a health kit, then that health kit cannot be used for like a minute by the enemy player. If they run over it, it just does nothing. And not only that, it massively increases the respawn time. To like from how long it takes for a large health kit to respawn in Overwatch, it goes down to like 2 seconds and it's back again. You can just camp those health kits and
enemy Sombras
run in,
hack
do damage, and run back.
You've already hacked.
It's not like I'm just going to go Sombra to counter this Sombra, because otherwise it would be such a hard counter, it just wouldn't work. And that's pretty much it. Her ultimate is an EMP, which is probably one of the most interesting ults, because it cancels or rather interrupts and stuns a lot of people who are already ulting. So if a McCree's using his Deadeye, for example, and he gets hit with the EMP, it's a massive area of effect thing, I should add, that
I think
emanates
the
out
easiest way to explain it is like it's either going to be hit or miss. It's going to become like a Zarya ult.
Yeah. It basically, if she's near stuff and she uses it, if there's turrets nearby, they are knocked out. If there are shields deployed by Reinhardt, they are completely destroyed instantly. Yeah. If there are shields put in place by Lucio dropping the beat, they're gone. It's just it nullifies almost every type of shield, including Zarya's, but not. It won't. I believe it will give Zarya damage for having the shield be instantly destroyed. However, except in the PTR right now it's 40 because they've slightly nerfed Zarya, but that's not the point. So her ult's kind of interesting. Right now, however, it's really difficult to say how how Sombra is going to affect the main game, because right now everyone wants to play Sombra. So as soon as you join a new quick play run, which we'll come to in a bit as well, because there's been massive changes there, basically there's no hero stacking anymore in standard quick play. So
They've
you go
moved
in
that to an arcade game mode, which is the new Tavern
called No Limits
sort of thing. I call it Tavern Brawl because of Hearthstone, but it's just called the Brawl on Overwatch.
And basically, you go in, someone insta-locks Sombra, and then no one joins that game because they realise they cannot play Sombra. But what is popular is the new 6v6 No Limits, which just means you've got 6 Sombras versus 5 Sombras and a Winston, who basically wants to run around and get as many kills as possible because Sombra's really squishy, and the lightning will automatically lock onto her as she runs past, pretty much.
Oh, Blizzard, if you're listening, make my boy Winston a skin, you bastards.
Yeah,
make it around this skin, please.
Yeah.
He has got a slight tweak in the PTR. If you've got the undersea ones, then when he jumps in there, he'll go splashing down. So that's a slight tweak.
No, I like his normal one where he just jumps in and goes, "Hi there."
Hi. It's like the ones where he's like, have you seen the ones where he's like stuck in an animation pose, like because he's been frozen by May, and he's just like doing this, going, "Hi there." Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. Anyway, so that's the big changes. They've added Sombra.
I am not
to the PTR.
sure. Like when Anna got released, the PTR is like her kit's really weak, but her ult is probably enough to make her relevant.
That was the weird thing about Anna. She got released and people were like, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And then in the most recent tournaments that I've been watching, she's like almost a must pick.
They did give her a round of buffs.
They did, yeah. They were like made her grenade radius slightly larger.
They gave her more ammo.
Yeah, and it's really interesting the way that worked. But with Sombra, it remains to be seen. It's going to be difficult.
Because I think it's similar to Anna, where her kit's not really that strong, but her ult is game changing.
And Sombra's just very weird. Like people have tried to liken her to like an almost slightly stronger
like
Tracer, but she's not, right?
She's not strong
because Tracer can do way more damage. She can get out of places much quicker.
She's way more mobile.
And she's way more mobile. People are like, oh, but you've got the translocate and you basically zip over there. But the thing is, you do that once with the translocate that has a long cooldown rather than Tracer. Just like, I'm over here, now I'm over here, now I'm over there, and I've gone back and I've got more health. So if you get the two of those in combination, that's going to be a combination of really annoying flankers. One where you don't know where the other one is. Oh, that's Sombra's passive. Sombra's passive is that she sees low health characters through walls when they
and
have
she can
basically no health
If she's
left.
hacked you, she can see
Your
enemy
ultimate
ultimates.
status, yeah. So she can't see what your percentage is, but if you have an ult and you get hacked, she knows you have that ultimate at that point. And the rest of the team does as well, in fact. It's visible by all team members. But yeah, she gets predator vision pretty much for like weak people when
Have you
she's
seen
shot
her
them.
highlight intro, the hacking one?
Yes,
Like,
that's
so
one of the best.
I
I've
was
unlocked them all on the PTR because
Yeah, I unlocked. It was so funny because we didn't know it existed. It was just like, oh, Martin's got player of the game. It was like, what?
No,
His player of the game just got hacked.
Got
It's
hacked
now
by
Sombra's
Sombra.
player of the game.
It's really cool. Someone made a comment about it on Reddit ages ago saying what they should do for one of the player of the games is have it so Sombra actually hacks the player of the game. And people threw it away. It's just like a single comment. And then Blizzard, being Blizzard, just implements like, that's a great idea. Let's fucking do that. I always wonder how many of these things are like, actually, I'm a Blizzard employee. Let's just put this going.
Some of the weirdest things about Sombra, so she doesn't interrupt everyone's ult.
No,
and
yeah.
the ult she interrupts are mainly people who aren't robots. So it's really confusing.
Yeah, given the backstory they've all been
So
given.
she can't hack Genji's ult, who's a cyborg. She
No.
can't hack Zenyatta's ult,
No.
who's a cyborg. What the fuck? Okay.
We're
Sorry,
fine.
the screen
Everything's
just
fine.
went off into power saving mode because we hadn't moved the mouse around in a while. And I
Panicked.
thought,
You've
I
been
thought there was
hacked. You've been hacked.
Sombra's hacking us, Tony, help! But,
God.
yeah, what was I saying?
The people that she can hack, the robots.
Yeah, it's really good. So you can't hack May's ult or
No.
Mai or however you say it. I always
No.
say it wrong, so I apologise in advance. But yeah, it's
You
really...
haven't though. You probably don't.
I
Yeah, you
don't
did it off the
unless people. I think her ult's worse than Anna's because it's going to be way harder to pull off.
It's positional, right? The thing is, she's going to be really strong in a comp game. In a comp game, team players genuinely actually play together and they clump up and they try and keep safe.
I
Whereas
think
that's
she's going.
like
I think she's going to
that's-
get a round of buffs when
Yeah.
she goes live because I don't think in this stage she's strong enough to be.
She's close, but she
Yeah.
just needs a few tweaks.
because
So in comp games, I think right now stuff like Lucio ults to go in and stuff like this is really good. Whereas, just Sombra's ability to just remove the Lucio buff.
So do you want to talk about the PTR changes? Because Lucio feels like complete shit on the PTR right now. They've nerfed his passive heal rate by 50%, which means you don't do any healing unless you amp up your healing.
Really?
It feels really bad. Like I think they over nerfed him because he's been getting.
He was a must pick.
He was a must pick. I'll give you that
every
because
game.
I think a lot of my friends are like, "Oh yeah,
Most of his
Lucio
speed boost.
needed nerfs," and I was like, "But I think they went too far."
Yeah, I think right now, it's weird. They've removed a lot of speed from the game. So they a while back they
All
buffed
ults
Lucio's
take
speed.
25% longer to
Longer,
charge
yeah.
as well.
Lucio doesn't make people run as fast anymore with his speed boost. Like, it's still faster, but it's not as fast. Anna's, in the PTR at least, Anna's ultimate no longer speed boosts another
Which I
boosted
think was
target.
needed because it was impossible to kill anyone who had Anna ult on. That was
Yeah,
deserved.
and so now they just take less damage and do more damage, but they don't run as fast.
They didn't get the speed buff,
Yeah.
which was kind of ridiculous.
So that's kind of interesting. And
Because
there's a few other like one of the most ones
Torbjorn.
for me at least is the Diva tweaks,
The Torbjorn, of course.
dwarf porn
Yeah.
tweaks.
I think Torbjorn's actually strong now, at
Yeah.
least on the PTR.
On the
he
PTR,
gains scrap
like,
as a passive.
gaining of scrap and a
And-
right click that just seems to destroy anything.
So he swings his hammer faster now, which
Yeah.
means he repairs and builds turrets a lot quicker, and also means get the hammer out in Molten Core, start smashing
Basically
people.
Reinhardt.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the thing for me is as well, Diva's been buffed. Diva now moves slightly
She gets
faster.
extra health, doesn't
Yeah,
she?
she's got
It's
extra
like
health by like 100.
Because I was on the
It's still
PTR.
armor, and she can move a bit faster while she's firing.
I was playing a game and I was like, oh my god, it's impossible to kill Diva. Why is she so tanky now? I was like, wait, they're giving her 100 fucking extra health.
And she's faster to move while she's shooting.
Yeah.
One thing that Blizzard always said that they didn't want to do is turn Diva into a beefy flying assassin.
Yeah, like
That's
a
kind of
mobile,
what she's becoming.
mobile turret.
Which I'm perfectly fine with. Like it, Blizzard.
Bastion on wings.
Yeah, I just want a Diva that has 2 side-mounted bastions in turret form.
Oh,
Give
God.
me that. No one else can have that, just me. I promise I won't
Fuck
abuse
Bastion.
That sounds like a cool ultimate though.
it. It would be terrifying.
Stealth
You can only use it for 2 seconds, but it's amazing.
It would
for
still
those
be like
2 seconds.
damage.
still have 0 playtime on Bastion on my live account, but I secretly play him on the PTR. Nobody knows. I tried him out. The first ever game I played. So we're going to arcade mode.
We'll get to that. Also, one more thing about
PTR.
Sombra as well. Sombra can, weirdly enough, she seems a bit broken for Bastion at the moment. She can hack Bastion.
Takes him out of turret form.
Yeah, she takes him out of turret form. But if the Bastion is going into turret form, it'll do the old animation cancel. So he will be going into turret form, and as soon as he gets into turret form, he'll suddenly just be back out again and start walking. It's super weird. So, changes to the actual gameplay. All of the art style for the different menus is slightly different now. There's like 8-bit-esque kind of logos of Tracer's face for some of them, and arcade cabinets. And then the arcade section has old quick play style, which was 6v6 no limits.
So, Tony, every week there was a different brawl which had like a crazy set of rules similar to the Hearthstone one.
Right.
But what they realised was that nobody was playing it
Because there was no reward.
They played once maybe, and then they kind of gave up on it because it wasn't that interesting. You actually got 10% less XP for playing on the Tavern Brawl.
Knows how.
For some stupid reasons, they decided to make a kind of like mini workshop sort of thing. They said they have plans of letting custom created game modes coming, and Jeff Kaplan says we need a server browser, which is really interesting as well. But they've basically replaced the weekly brawl with now what's called the arcade mode, which has a bunch of different game modes,
including the random modes. Basically, so they're still going to have interesting
Mystery
matchups
brawl
in it. They're going to have 6v6 no limits, which is old quick play. So you could have like 6v6. You could have all Hanzos versus all Winstons if you wanted, or you could have some Hanzos, some Winstons, some Divas, but it's crucially copies.
But why would you have Hanzos versus Winstons? Winstons would
people
win.
are dumb. No, they wouldn't.
Yes, they would.
Trust me. I had it the other day. And it's really annoying because the Winstons that you're playing with are really stupid, whereas all the Hanzos are
Winston
like
destroys
vaguely competent.
every single sniper in the
think
game.
so?
No, I know so. I get gold eliminations on Winston. I know.
Competent. These people were not competent. I'm sure that they were just basically
You
let
can
out
show.
for day
I'm going to
release.
send Toby a play of the game of me as Winston. He can play it right now on the editing.
Okay.
So we'll wait here and then come back to that. We didn't actually have to wait because, magic of editing. But also...
Yeah, if you knew it, there's not a problem.
Yeah, just play it in the background.
There are two new ones on a new map, which is called Eco Point Antarctica, which is the base station which May, from her lore, was frozen in and left basically to die with her team.
So for a while they said they were struggling to make it into a 6v6 map because it kind of just didn't work.
Yeah.
So they were just like,
So they
why
gave
don't
up.
we make a 3v3 game mode?
They're like, okay, let's make a 3v3 game mode instead, where we can tweak a few rules, right? Because you can't just keep respawning. So the way it works now is it's best out of best or first to
Best
three.
of 5.
So best of 5, yeah. Of rounds where it's 3 versus 3, but only single life. So you have to work together as a team because once you die, you've left your team at 3v2, which is really interesting. And you fight in the first. You get this really cool animation at the end that shows you basically like who survived in that round, and then it shows you like you won this one because these people died and these ones survived. You won this one, you didn't do that one. It's quite interesting. And on the new map, it's set in Antarctica. It's where May was frozen in cryostasis.
Just like Lister on Red Dwarf.
Just like The Thing. And in fact, the massive... Right, so there's an old horror film called The Thing.
Yeah.
And it's a John Carpenter film. And basically this thing copies people and then kills them. And then
Just
you don't
like
know who's
on
the
Red
thing,
Dwarf.
right? And yeah, pretty much, right? But...
Go watch Red Dwarf, kids.
No.
In the cryo station like thing at May's place, like people always thought like May's actually evil. She's was on her own in this, basically in Antarctica, like in The Thing, and then suddenly she was found and everyone else was mysteriously dead. She's not May, she's a thing. Anyway, if you go and look in the map, there's like a bunch of cryostasis pods, and then there's this big ice coffin thing, which is straight from the film The Thing. And one of the cryostasis chambers that one of the May's team was in is labelled MacReady, which is the name of one of the characters from The Thing. So they put all these kind of weird, subtle nods.
Well, it
in
would make sense if Maya was a soulless monster.
Yeah, that's pretty much what people are saying. Anyway, the map's really nice. It's quite small. It's got like a few different bits of verticality to it, but there are no health kits. So you really rely on healers if there are some. And the reason why that's also important is because the spawn rooms, for example, they don't heal you either. The 3v3 aspect comes down to, if your healer's dead and you don't have any other way to heal yourself, you basically got to go and try and be better than the other person. But also on that map is not only 3v3, but another game mode, which is 1 versus 1. But you don't get to pick the class. The game automatically picks a class for both of you, and it's always the same class. So
it's a
Junkrat versus Junkrat.
A
Hanzo
random
versus
character,
Hanzo.
and then it's a best of 7.
Yeah. And the person who wins the most gets the victory. All of these ones which exist within the arcade are then, if you win one of them, then you get a loot box up to a cap of 9. I think it is. It seems to be broken at the moment. I don't think that's how they're planning to do it.
So
it's supposed to be you win 3, you get a loot box. You win 3, you get a loot box, I think.
No, so if you play 3 game modes, you get a loot box, but they're rewarding certain game modes with a loot box, and the most popular ones will give you a loot box. They're rewarding
that explains a lot.
So you get a loot box for playing that once.
So basically there's a cap each week of you getting 3 loot boxes, but if you play one and win one, then you get an automatic loot box. So they've heavily
There's a cap of
incentivized
9
stuff
wins
now.
that resets every week.
Yeah. Like you would get in
unlocking loot
the
boxes.
Tavern Brawl before, where if you won a certain number of them, or you won it, you got a free card set or whatever, like a free...
In Hearthstone?
Yeah.
So in the Hearthstone Tavern Brawl, if you won a game in it, you got a free card back.
Yeah, that's it.
So, yeah. That's right. The thing I found about 3v3...
It's really good.
It's really fun.
That's the one I find the most interesting.
I kind of want to play this more than I want to play 6v6.
What's annoying about this? Blizzard fixed this. Let me play 3v3 versus my friends, like as in 3 of my
They
friends
said
versus
they're
3 of
going
my
to add
friends.
it. There's a blue post where they said they're going to allow you to have
Oh, that's
custom
good.
game.
And I guess the
on
same with
3v3.
1v1 as well?
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Because right now you can't do that in the
Challenge
PTR.
me to a 1v1, scrubs.
Yeah, literally, it's like 1v1 me IROW in
Right.
real Overwatch.
Can't
And
wait.
that's it. That's the changes that they've
Well,
made
when I
to
played-
Overwatch. There is also a new map coming called Oasis, which is going to be sort of set.
That's not on the PTR.
Not on the
so
PTR
we
yet.
won't talk about that.
And also they've announced Overwatch League, which is a...
Oh, this is huge. I want to talk about this. This is so interesting to me
Yeah.
because I love esports. Okay, but
I'm going to leave this to you.
So you don't care about this? 'Cause
Overwatch League I do care about. I will follow it, but I will not do it
but
because I don't have time.
the explanation of what the Overwatch League actually is really interesting.
So we'll take a break, and we'll be right back. And well, I mean, I'm going now. So I've been Dan. I'm not going to plug anything because I don't have anything to plug.
Just unplug your headphones.
Bye!
Hello, and we're back, and Daniel's on, so we can, he didn't quite finish with Overwatch. Well, all I want to say before we go into the Overwatch League was that I played 3v3, and it was really fucking good. Like, I had no idea what was going on the first time I entered the game, so I just went on Winston, jumped into the middle of the map, and instantly died, and I was like, what the fuck is happening, basically. And, yeah. I think characters with sustain on that map are really strong because there's no health kits, as you mentioned, so like people like Roadhog, or even May herself is going to be really strong. But the Overwatch League is so interesting to me because they've gone through a route that not really any other esports has done. Because it's been talked about for ages in League of Legends. They want the franchising option, and Overwatch League is going to be franchised.
It looks,
So
it
if you
looks
don't-
really interesting, even like to my standpoint. Like it looks, like didn't like in like the video you sent me, didn't they say like, oh yes, like a mix between like what we've learned from esports and like more traditional sports.
Yeah, so there's a video on the Overwatch channel about how the Overwatch League is going to work that they showed at BlizzCon. But how it's going to work is that each team is going to have a franchise. So you're going to have a team from like America all going to be on different places, like the New York Yankees, basically. And then at the start of the season, so there's going to be franchises in the America, the Asia regions, Europe, and
Not Africa, unfortunately.
not Africa, because Africa was shown on the map, but I don't think many people play Overwatch in Africa.
Okay.
I'm sorry if you do, but there's no franchise there, and I'm not sure there's that much money there. But yeah. So say you're in America and you have the New York Yankees, your team will be like the New York Tracers or something, and then basically what you do is at the start of every season you bid on the players you want. So you're going to have this huge bidding wars, similar to how the NFL draft works, where you have these people. Tony, stop squeaking with your squeaky chair.
He's really, really happy about this.
Squeaky chair,
So-
calm down. So yeah, basically they're going to have like a drafting thing. They're going to like make an entertainment event like they do on the NFL, and you're going to be able to buy the best players for your team. And what this is going to do is it's going to make it so you may not like like this player, but if, say, you live in New York, I want to support the New York Overwatch team, you're going to bring this kind of, I want to support this team because they're where I'm from sort of mentality, which is going to bring a lot more native fans into the actual supporting of the team. And not necessarily just people who are interested in Overwatch, but other esports or people who live there. And what the good thing Blizzard's done is they've got a bunch of different people from traditional sports, and what they did at BlizzCon is they brought them into a room with a bunch of billionaires, and these people are going to invest in these teams. Like fucking Elon Musk was there at BlizzCon. He was watching the Overwatch tournament with these kids, and you know, Elon Musk might fucking invest in an Overwatch team. That's fucking insane. Because I think that'd be crazy. I'd support what we're gonna the Tesla Tracers or something. Maybe it'll be their name or something.
What do you think he means? What do you think is his main?
I don't think he plays the game. I think he was there with his kids. But I think, well, if he's Tesla, then he probably the Winston because of the electricity gun. I'm gonna say so.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Elon Musk plays Winston, so he's a smart player like me. Left click to win. But yeah, I just think a system where you're putting intrinsic value on the players before the league's even started, where people are going to try and get the best players on their team, and you already have a fan base because you're placing it in a geolocation, is really interesting for an esports franchise, because I know lots of people have really wanted a franchise because it gives team security to all of the teams, because like the way it works in the LCS is you have a relegation system, so you go in for one split, like a team, say you're like Team Apex, you go in and then you get relegated and then your team's gone, and anyone who invests in that team are basically fucked themselves because that team's now gone and there's no job security there. But with this franchise thing, you can have like a buy-in to get your franchise into the thing, and then you'll forever have this spot where you can generate revenue. They'll probably announce, once the esports starts, they'll probably announce like esports related skins. We talked about before how League has only just had like the world revenue share with the world skins and the SKT stuff. So
you think Blizzard can do
that is really interesting. Toby, StarCraft 2 had some announcements. I know you love StarCraft 2, so do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
I mean, you've played a little bit of StarCraft 2, haven't you?
I've watched way more StarCraft 2 than I played. Like I used to watch loads of stuff basically. But yeah, this actually the second point is more interesting than the first one, but I think the first one's pretty good as well.
So there's going to be extra Nova missions. I don't play StarCraft 2, but I thought I'd very briefly mention this news for anyone who's interested in StarCraft 2, because I hate RTS and this shit. But make Warcraft 4, please. You know, the thing that really pisses me off is that still at BlizzCon they go, you know, we still have the source code for all our old games, but no one would really be interested in like a remade HD Warcraft or StarCraft or Diablo, and we're just like, oh, fuck off, Blizzard. You think you do, but you don't.
We do, Blizzard.
But the second point that I found quite interesting is that people behind Google DeepMind, well, they had the bot recently that beat the best Go player in Korea or something at the game Go, which is like a board game. And now they want to put the API out and see if a bot can be made to beat the best StarCraft players.
Which would be great. It'd be amazing if you can create AI for this that can learn.
I think that's a really interesting thing, to try and create a bot that can beat StarCraft. And I made a joke on Twitter that they're making a bot to beat the Koreans at StarCraft. The Koreans are already robots, so I don't think you're gonna beat them. But
they don't have open source API for that, Jay.
So this is one of the, apart from this is one of the most interesting things, Diablo 3. So I'm a huge Diablo 3 fan. I started playing Diablo 3. I didn't play the Diablo 1 or 2, but I really got into Diablo 3 when I tried to try it out and play it with some friends. But they're making 2 brand new areas for Diablo. They're making a Diablo 1 dungeon event area for the 20th anniversary of Diablo. It was one of their first games. The only one that came before it was, of course, Toby's favourite Blizzard game, Lost Vikings, which he can play in Heroes of the Storm if he wants.
Actually,
anyway,
Tangerine side that did actually like a really interesting thing in.
Oh yeah, because the Lost Vikings characters in Heroes of the Storm kind of have this RTS micromanagement where you play as 3 characters at once.
That sounds actually really cool to me.
And then, of course, they've announced the Diablo 2 character, the Necromancer, is coming to Diablo 3 as a paid character pack. I don't know about the pricing. So when I heard about all this stuff, I thought it was all free. But I later learned the Necromancer you will actually have to pay for, and it will give you 2 extra character slots as well. No idea of the pricing yet. They haven't announced that, but that will be coming later next year, I believe. They have announced the Diablo 1 area will be a January-only event. So it'll come out in January, you can play it, and then it'll go, and then you can play it every year, and there'll be achievements and transmogs tied to that, which is quite interesting. But I will put a caveat. So the Diablo 1 area looked really cool. People were kind of annoyed because they really wanted a Diablo 1 HD remake, like the full thing. So I was going to go on the PTR to test this out, and I know my friend Martin, who's a podcast listener sometimes, and he said he tried it out. And I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, and I'll just play it for an hour and try it out because I don't want to spoil it for myself when it actually goes live. And he's just like, yeah, if you play it for an hour, you'll pretty much play the whole thing. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, it's only an hour long. I was like, oh, okay. So the Diablo 1 area is basically like the original. It's 8 levels and then Diablo fight, and he was just like, yeah, it's pretty easy, and to be honest, it's not that much different. So what they've done is they added a filter to it to make it look like the original. It's still got all the Diablo 3 stock assets, but it's got a grainy filter on it, and you can't move in all 360 directions like you could in the original Diablo. You can only move in 8 directions. So
yeah, emulating the
I'll definitely play it when it comes out in January because it'll be something to do on Diablo 3 with my friends, and it's interesting, but kind of less hyped than I was before for a Diablo HD because it's kind of Diablo 3 but with a grainy filter, and
why can't you just make a Diablo 1 and 2 HD remake though?
Toby, we think we know what we want, but we don't.
Yeah, we're the ones that pay with our money, but we don't know what we want apparently. Thanks, Blizzard.
Fuck you, Blizzard. Oh, whew. No, I shouldn't make too many enemies this podcast.
You only made one. It's not even a company.
Because I'm gonna say fuck you, Blizzard later on in this podcast about WoW as well. So
okay.
Because I'll briefly mention. So that's what's going on with Diablo 3. Kind of interesting that they've got some free content and the paid class. I'll be interested to see how the Necromancer comes out. It seems like they're kind of we're at a point where we're just going to keep supporting our old games because we don't want to release any more games at this point. It seems like at this point, that they don't want to make rehashes of their old content like the fans want them to. There's a huge demand for that, but they seem to not want to do that. But it's also a really bad time to release a new IP or something. So they're probably going to keep supporting their old games for another couple of life cycles because they're putting more content into StarCraft. They're putting more content into Heroes of the Storm. They're sticking to that. They're more expansions for Hearthstone. They're really sticking with WoW Legion. It's been a really good experience so far. But just move on to Heroes of the Storm quickly because it's more of an announcement. They have announced Varian, Rin, of course, rest in peace. Spoiler alert. If you didn't know, he dies in WoW Legion and Anduin takes over.
I did.
Unlucky Varian. But at this point, I think it's kind of confirmed. So Varian dies, and then he goes to the Heroes of the Storm. Is it not confirmed at this point that Heroes of the Storm is Blizzard Valhalla, right? Where you just die, and you just go in an eternal battle forever. Like the Viking mythology Valhalla, where you just go and fight and drink and... Yeah.
So that sounds like Klingon Stovercore as well, I feel.
Yeah. Heroes of the Storm is Klingon Stovercore, Tony.
Yeah, feels good.
Confirmed. So there's also the new Rag character, Ragnaros the Firelord. Huge Warcraft lore character. He's one of the Elemental Lords. And he has a really interesting design where he can become basically like a raid boss, kind of. That I found really interesting. There's a new game mode based around it as well. So I'm definitely going to go back and play Heroes of the Storm on the 15th of November, which is tomorrow. Because if you play 15 games with a friend on Heroes of the Storm, you unlock a new Genji skin. And I am a Genji main now, Tony. I'm sorry.
You're a Genji
I need the Genji skin.
Can't believe you've done this.
The weeaboo man. I've gone to the dark side, Tony.
Well, I
I've
gotta play
started
my
playing
next Viking,
Genji.
my main hero.
Well, Tony,
Of the song
I have the
itself.
game installed, so I'm
I
going to
do
be playing
not.
it.
I'll
I'm going to be
install it.
playing it tomorrow for that Genji skin. So
Okay.
So the next game, Hearthstone actually announced their brand new expansion, the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan. So if you've ever played WoW, you know Gadgetzan is a shithole in the middle of nowhere and nothing happens. It's basically like a dusty fucking what's the name of that sandy planet in Star Wars? The one where Anakin's
Tatooine?
from. It's like a Tatooine. It's literally like this tiny little place where a bunch of goblins live that nothing happens in. And then
Are you saying that goblins are Jawas?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay.
Because they have the technology affinity as well.
That's true,
so.
actually. Yeah, they're Jawas. Okay, confirmed.
Okay. But basically Hearthstone they've kind of, ever since like Karazhan, they've kind of gone, why don't we do an alternative history route where we just go, what if Medivh had a giant party where he just went crazy and invited a load of people, and it was kind of a silly sort of thing instead of like an official lore thing. And then they're just like, what if Gadgetzan was ruled by like mobs of ogres and goblins and casinos and stuff? And it's just like, oh, this is actually really cool, because I'd love to see this sort of stuff in the actual Gadgetzan.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
If they went back into it and they put this into like the actual Gadgetzan and they added this stuff, I think that'd be so cool. But
yeah.
I think they're just gonna not do that sort of stuff with Legion. They're going to focus on Legion at the moment and get more content out for like the Tomb of Sargeras.
But maybe in 2 years' time, Joe, maybe the gangster expansion for WoW.
The gangster. Yep. So they've announced a bunch of legendaries, and what I've seen so far, I'm really enjoying, because they've added the RNG they've added is good RNG. One of the best mechanics Blizzard ever released was the Discover mechanic, because it gave you a choice of 3 different cards that you could choose from. So it was RNG with a choice. I think that was one of my favourite things they try to add to every expansion. They kind of add a new mechanic to the game to try and mix it up. Some are hit, and a lot of them are missed. So I think like nobody wanted jousting, nobody really liked Inspire. But I think Discover was one I really personally enjoyed, so that was good. Krakos, I'm definitely going to make a Krakos deck, because it's like a new Reno.
What was it, that potion like card?
Yeah, that's Krakos. So Krakos
how does that work?
If you only have one card, if you only have one copy of a card in your deck, so you have to run like 30 unique cards.
Yeah.
And you can make it so when you play it, you discover a potion. So you discover the mana cost. So you choose what mana cost you want. Then you choose what you want it to do, what you want it to do, what you want it to do. So you can make it like deal 2 damage to all minions, summon a 3-drop or something.
Why would you not choose the lowest mana cost? Like, what does it...
Because the higher mana costs have bigger effects.
Right, okay.
So you choose how much mana you want for the what you want to pay. So you basically say, it's early game, I want a weak potion, or if it's a late game, I want a really strong potion, basically. Yeah. I think that was by far the best legendary they've made in a while, because it also includes the Discover mechanic, which I love. Discover, if you didn't know, it's a really good move from Blizzard.
If you renamed Hearthstone to Discover Stone, it'd be a better game.
Oh, yeah. There's less fucking barns in this expansion, because they tried to make another fucking RNG legendary, but they gave it awful stats and didn't make it that good, so I'm really glad that they're fucking RNG up this time.
Yeah.
So I'm actually pretty hyped for Hearthstone expansion. I've been saving up gold. I've been watching my friend Andy, he was on the podcast before. He's going through his legend climb this week. He's at around rank 4, so hopefully he gets legend, and I'm really rooting for him. But the last game that was mentioned at BlizzCon, or should we say was not mentioned at BlizzCon, was WoW. So they did go over Legion stuff and say, this is what we have in the agenda for WoW. This is what
it's not what we wanted, though, was it?
So people have been asking for legacy servers for God knows how fucking long. Private servers existed. There's a market base for private servers. There's 120,000 people who were playing on fucking Nostralius who want legacy servers before Blizzard shut them down and sent a cease and desist to the service provider to the servers in France. And so what's happened was they had a talk with Nostralius, the team, and they said, yeah, we have plans for legacy and stuff, we're definitely going to take this all in with Blizzard, we'll listen. And basically what they did was before BlizzCon, they just said, oh yeah, we won't be talking about legacy servers. And people were pissed off. They were just like, okay, them saying they're going to talk about legacy servers was a fucking PR stunt. The classic Blizzard, you think you do, but you don't. You're just going to ignore what you want with WoW. I think WoW is like their bastard. No, it's not their bastard child. That'd probably be like Heroes of the Storm or StarCraft. But
it's like the over-engorged child. Like, it's been fed way too much.
It's like one of their oldest games, apart from Diablo is.
But its oldest game's still going though. It's still being updated for.
Well, Diablo's getting some updates recently. They are trying to keep that going. But I'm getting off topic. Blizzard. So basically, before the BlizzCon, I actually said this on the podcast. I was talking about Nostralis made a low-key threat. They're basically like, yeah, if you don't talk about legacy servers, we're going to do something drastic and make sure legacy servers exist in one way or the other. So what they've done is they've got the original source code for Nostralis, the really good source code that they developed for years, and they've given it to Elysium, who are a Russian private server, and they've been running vanilla WoW for like 10 years now, and they're opening an international server in France that's going to come in about a month. It's going to be a fresh new PvP server, and everyone's going to start again. You cannot transfer characters to that. And they're also going to make a PvE and a PvP server you can transfer to. But I think most people are going to be playing on the new PvP server. I think I'm going to try and play on it. And Tony, if you want to play, you can come and play on it too. Because everyone's going to be new. And I think Blizzard are going to be pissed off about this. But they've said if they get any cease or desist letters, they're going to ignore them. Because Blizzard didn't fucking listen.
If they got a letter from Blizzard, they're going to ignore it. Like, it could be anything. They could, like, have a happy birthday in Australia, and no, ignoring it.
I was watching a documentary about Pirate Bay, and they basically were ignoring all the cease and desist letters and were just saying, "Fuck off! We read your letter. Go away." And they moved the servers to like the pirate party in Sweden, and it's like because it's a political party, I'm going really off topic, but because it's a political party, if you try to shut down servers inside a political party's grounds, that's high treason. Yeah. That's like a political censorship of the highest kind. So they're pretty much like bulletproof where they are right now. Going off topic. But, yes, so these are Russians that have taken over, and I'm thinking, Blizzard, good luck trying to shut down anything that's based in Russia. Yeah. Because that and China are like immune to any legal threats, because they just go, no, fuck off. There's no way you're going to extradite something from fucking Russia. Putin's going to kick a boot up your ass, Blizzard. Jesus Christ, what was I going to say as well that they kind of piss people off with? I'm trying to think. No, Blizzard, something to do with private servers. It'll come to me because I just remembered it and I forgot it again. But they said that they had no plans to remake any other games as well. Yeah, which was really annoying. We said that earlier. But yeah, this new server is coming out in about a month. Maybe it'll come out next year. But these guys, the Elysium team, have been running a Russian server for about 10 years. We'll have to see how good the French server is. But
the other thing about this one as well is like a lot of the old admins have gone over.
So a lot of the old Nostralis team have gone over to work at Elysium.
And perhaps the leaders of them, but that's not announced, and it's maybe under the radar if they are doing that.
And so as well, they've kind of said, we're giving the source code to Elysium first, and then after that, it's going to be made public. Right. So Blizzard, if you try and cut off this head, another one will grow. There will be legacy servers. You cannot stop this. Basically, I'm assuming that if they try and send them a cease and desist, there's kind of some sort of dead man switch where if a code gets like a letter gets sent, there'll be some sort of they're going to leak this before they're like legally made to stop doing anything.
Well, legality things take a while anyway, so
you
have to announce in advance. So, but yeah, I'm hoping. I think the best thing to come from is Blizzard to actually realize that people want it and actually implement it themselves. I don't have a problem like having to subscribe for this, right? I know some people.
Oh, that was it. So Nostralis even went as far as integrating legacy servers into the Battle.net launcher.
So you had to have a subscription.
So you could launch it from the Battle.net launcher. The legacy servers could be accessed from there, which was like a huge part on Nostralis they didn't have to do. They were just trying to help Blizzard actually make this a reality, and then they just went, nah, we're not going to talk about legacy servers, just forget about those. This is a PR stunt. So people are pretty pissed right off, but I'm definitely going to be playing on Elysium and legacy servers and Nostralis 2.0, basically. And we'll see what Blizzard's play is, because I think at this point, I don't think there's much they can do. Because they've basically said, yeah, we'll kind of listen. We don't want to remake our old stuff, but yeah, we might do it, but no, fuck off. So, Toby.
Hello.
Do you want to talk about... So, finally, we still talking about BlizzCon. You do not play any of these games, apart from a little bit of StarCraft. And I played all of these games, apart from StarCraft. And I love them all, so I really want to talk about them. So I've apologised for making you sit there and listen to me and Daniel drone on for a while. But this is a topic you can talk about, because I made you read this one night because I was too tired and I went to bed. Valve has tightened their restriction on Steam store screenshots. So there's no more bull shots. There's no more pre-rendered images.
It was actually really
Steam
good
store.
though, because it wasn't just Valve coming out saying, "Oh yeah, this is BS." So, we've done it ourselves as well. We realised how bad it is.
Yeah,
and it's not. And I think the article kind of said they don't want to just remove all the arty screenshots, but I think you have to have screenshots of in-game content if you do want to have arty stuff. The majority of it has to be in-game content. It has to be actual screenshots, not art shots, basically.
No concept art, no pre-rendered screenshots.
So I think you can have them, but you have to have first and foremost the screenshots inside the game. You can't, because loads of games just have art shots, concept arts and things.
Well, we were talking about
that anymore.
We were talking about this on the earlier podcast. Is that No Man's Sky was getting sued by British advertising industry standards because it was using fake screenshots to the point that it was being sued.
Yeah.
It was still using them to advertise the game when they were not representative of what the game was at all.
And now...
So what they're saying is, if you got pictures of the game's beta, that's fine. That doesn't represent what the game looks like now. You have to show what the game looks like at its current state.
Because now Steam's new policy means you can't show a previous state or a state that is not those big animals and things, those space battles and things on the store page can no longer be there by the new rule system. Because
they uploaded an action coming to the upcoming store update, and they basically said in 2 points. The first one is being, if you have any game that contains mature content, you have to indicate that it's not suitable for all ages or it is. Yeah. So if you have mature content in there, you need to specify that and it'll be censored. And then number 2 was the point we're talking about, where regardless of the content in your game, please make sure that images uploaded to the screenshot section of your store page are actually screenshots of the game. Yeah. They have to be pictures of what the game looks like, not pre-rendered, no concept art. So yeah, then this comes as well with the brand new Steam UI overhaul. The brand new store page is fantastic, Tony. We really love this, don't we?
You can actually see little thumbnails of what you're going to click before you click them. You can hover over stuff. It doesn't the auto cycle is better at the top. It's really quite nice. Yeah,
I'm sure Toby will have some pictures of this for you. On the book, but looking at it now, you can now access whether you want to wishlist a game or you're not interested in it or your preferences from the actual store page.
I will say, Scorn of the Toilets is still waiting for being able to add stuff to your cart from this sort of menu system, but that's not there yet. Only GOG.
So one of the most amazing things is, instead of just showing the actual concept art picture of the game sort of thing, next to it shows the tags, the price, and it shows screenshots of the game. So this is kind of their 2-part update where they're going, screenshots have to represent the game, they have to be shown on the store page, basically. Yeah. So you know exactly what you're getting when you look at the games on the store page. They want the store page to be as transparent as possible. They want to stop kind of people abusing the system. This is mainly more directed at, I was going to say people on Greenlight, and I think it's actually more directed at AAA publishers who just completely...
it's a whole slew of different types of people. I would have said
because you've got AAA publishers using concept art and pre-rendered images like fucking No Man's Sky, Sony, and Hello Games were still using those fucking pre-rendered screenshots of. There are No Man's Sky, but
there's some terrible indie asset flips that.
Yeah, you got some terrible indie asset flips of people using screenshots that aren't even in the game.
Genuine indies tend to not use those types of things, really. But...
And with the ban of digital homicide on all of Steam, it seems like Steam's cracking down on this shit. Hopefully, in the nicest way, we might be able to see less of Jim's videos where he's taking the piss out of shit that's on Greenlight.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
I'd love to see more Boglin Watch and
more
less
Greenlight good
shitty,
stuff.
Yeah, more good Greenlight stuff. Hopefully,
it's good.
But
it's good news. Yeah. Good job, Valve.
It's some other tiny stuff, but I think we can just go on to Toby's wish list because I think we're running out of time. So I just need to go onto your wish list, Toby. Have you added anything particular this week that you've tried to bait me in with?
I don't know, Joe. I do it by accident.
You always do, Toby.
I know, but I do it by accident.
Okay.
Apart from that one time I didn't.
That one time where you didn't.
Well, you did tell me to, and you didn't think I was being serious, but I was.
Right. Oh, I know what this game is, but let's talk about it. Owlboy.
Oh yeah, I just added it right now.
Because I've been telling you to add this for ages. I know.
Can I just say that? I saw this from the new creator system that's on the front page, and I instantly added it from there. Thank you, Steve. Very helpful.
Well, Jim's been hyping up this game for years because it's been in a development cycle for about 9 or 10 years, and it looks fantastic. These like hand-drawn art assets.
They're
absolutely
really nice.
Fantastic.
The background's really well done. The foreground's really well done.
It's a platformer, but you're an owl, so you can just fly. So I don't know what platforming there is because.
Well, the platform's there's kind of obstacles in the way, isn't it? So.
Yeah. So I have watched a Super Bunny Hops review, so he kind of goes into the kind of how this game works. So just before we go over it, I'll explain what's going on. So Owlboy is a hybrid adventure game where you can fly and explore a brand new world in the clouds, pick up your friends and bring them with you as you explore the open skies, overcome obstacles and greater enemies in one of the most detailed adventures of this era. It's an adventure, pixel graphics, indie 2D action game, full controller support, huge point to do with platformers. Got single player, Steam Cloud Save, which I always love, but going back to George and Super Bunny Hop, he kind of explains the way you play it. So you can fly, and the way there's combat in this game. The way it works, you pick up allies with your talons, and they shoot things for you, and you can switch them in and out to get different attacks. And he said you can fly as high as you want, but the thing is they have to stop you flying off the screen. So a lot of the skies, when you get up to the top of them, you realise they're just kind of caves at the top of them, so you don't fly off the screen. Yeah. And he says you can fly, but just dashing is a lot faster to get around because you don't get the animation. It cancels the animation of flying, so you can just dash around the levels, and it's way easier than actually flying, which is kind of annoying that you have to listen to this dashing sound over and over again. But what it comes down to is there's this large open world that you can fly around in, but a lot of the puzzles are in caves, and you have to open doors by landing on things.
That's a really nice story from what I've seen, the little part of the story.
So apparently really the game is only a couple of hours long, but it is £20. It's $18.99.
Yeah, it's a weird price point actually.
So I'm pretty high. I really want to play this game, but there's mixed reviews for it. If you enjoy Zelda-esque kind of adventure puzzle kind of platformer games with a really beautiful art style, this may be the game for you. I'd definitely give this one a go if you're unsure. I'd say try it because with its length you can probably refund it if you didn't enjoy it. But I'm going to say, Toby, this could be on your wish list. It's on my wish list. I think this game looks fantastic. Yeah. I really want to play it. I really want to play Owlboy. So check that out, guys. Even if you're unsure, check it out. have a go. There's no demo because there never is anymore, is there? I miss demos.
Some games we've covered do have demos.
Do you remember that
Sorry.
Do you remember, we saw that Toxikk game on the homepage?
Oh yes.
It had a free version of the game, which is exactly the same. It was like an extended demo where you could just play the entire game in multiplayer, but you didn't have access to the campaign and you didn't have access to certain maps. But you could play everything else for free, which I thought was really interesting.
That's nice, yeah.
What the hell is Super Rad Raygun?
Oh. I'm not sure. It's
Can
from
you read out the description? Wait, Rooster Teeth makes games.
Yes.
I'll watch the trailer. You read out the description for the people who are listening.
Okay. It's the year 198X. I'm not
It
sure.
looks like a Game Boy game.
It comes in multiple shades of green, Joe.
Ultra sharp 1440p resolution.
Big Car is hot, and the war with the Soviets is colder than a refreshing glass of new Coke. Rad Raygun must travel the world's fighting communist robots. And save the 1980s by shooting... Wait, save the 1980s? What? By shooting both the... What? Through the decades in a totally fresh experience with the original XPL... Is that IG game? I'm not entirely sure what that description means. I'm a bit confused. I'm getting mixed messages.
I think it's Xbox Live indie game, I think.
Yeah, but it says... Yeah, that's the case. Yeah, right. But why is the original year 198X? And then you have to then save the 1980s? What's going on there?
I don't think I'm questioning the story of this game. He's shaking hands with Ronald Reagan. He's Super Rad Raygun, Tony. We don't need to know why he's doing it. It has full controller support and it's a platform, Tony. That's fine with me.
And it comes in 4 shades of green.
The look of it reminds me a lot of Mega Man. It looks a lot like Mega Man.
Yeah, sort of. I don't.
It's like a game, and the non-version color of the Game Boy that you got with Mega Man.
Yeah. I guess that's what they're trying to emulate. I guess, isn't it? Like the old screens, but
yeah, there even seems to be like because you have power-ups as well, like Mega Man did.
I was actually kind of like...
And it's like an action platformer. It's meant to be retro.
Yeah, it looked like a solid platformer, right? But nothing like interesting. I don't know if that's true or not. But what kind of maybe?
Yeah, it doesn't look in. It looks okay, but it doesn't look interesting. Why don't you put it on your wish list?
The humor in the trailer kind of sold me. It's like, all right, fair enough. That kind of humor is pretty good. I would actually want to experience this.
Yeah, because it's made by Rooster Teeth, apparently. So you're gonna have the humor there.
Yeah, so that's kind of what made me selfless. Like, I just thought it was quite a funny trailer, and it kind of sold me.
Toby, you've put another platformer on your wish list when you don't like platformers.
Well,
what the bloody hell are you playing?
This time
I'm
actually going against my First Amendment to me hating that. Like, 0th Amendment is I don't like platformers. First Amendment is it has to have interesting mechanics and things.
It's not.
It has no interesting mechanics. It just has a funny story, I guess. I don't even know if that's true.
I think
it only has 9 reviews.
I think it's okay to be in your wish list.
I'm not sure about this one, to be fair. Like, this is like on the
I'm
edge.
not. I'm like 50-50 on it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of. I don't think I'd get it immediately, but if it was on sale for dirt cheap, I might pick it up.
It is only £7.
Yeah, but I think that's too expensive for this. For me personally, I'd wait for it to be like half price.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I'd get it at £5 for sure. Like, obviously, people's mileage.
I'm gonna put out my wish list, but it'll be like low on my wish list. It's not like a high priority game. So let's have a look at the final game. What the hell is Orbit playing with gravity?
Oh, that's a weird game, actually.
Yeah, it's a puzzle game. Orbit is a gravity simulator at the heart of a puzzle game. Launch planets with a flick of your hand and try to get them into stable orbits around black holes. Create your own levels in this sandbox and publish your creations to the world for everyone to play. It's an indie casual simulation game. What is this?
I'm not sure. I really like the look of orbital stuff, right? I really like spinning things, and it was a puzzling game.
Is the puzzle figuring out what to do?
I think
in this game,
you're trying to create the orbits. I think is what I try to get from that. I'm not sure.
So there's a level editor and there's single player, but there's no workshop, even though it talks about sharing your creations with the world. So some sort of third-party system they have for sharing your creations.
Could be just inbuilt into the game. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, first party. Sorry. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'd play this, Tony. I'll be straight up.
I'll have you know it has 100% positive reviews out of 4 people.
Out of 4 people who played it. Let's see how many have
I'm
for
thinking,
free.
just like, what do you actually do to like complete the puzzle? Like, what do you start with? What do you add and things? Like, this trailer doesn't help me. Oh wait, you have to give it the momentum and the correct like.
If
angle
you're
and
into
correct
puzzle
velocity to
games,
have
it's
the
fun
correct
playing
orbits.
with gravity. It gets challenging later on, but feels awesome when you actually get it down.
Nice.
It's apparently it's like a relaxing puzzle gravity game.
Now I'm actually looking at the trailer properly. I can
Toby,
actually see what they're doing.
You want a relaxing gravity puzzle game? Why don't you play Angry Birds in Space, Tony? That's got gravity mechanics
Because
in it
fuck
around
you.
planets. Toby, I know you're going to go watch the new Angry Birds movie.
Oh my god, I forgot that's coming out. Oh,
Yep.
God.
That exists, Tony.
I know. Yeah.
Angry Birds is a game. Aim.
I wish
So-
it wasn't, though.
That's the final thing on your wish list. So we'll just go on to the final thing on the schedule, which is, of course, our Danny Dyer tweet of the week. And Tony, we had Bonfire Night very recently after Halloween.
We did.
And you've picked this very special tweet from Danny Dyer. He says, "Roll on Bonfire Night. It's going to be strapped to a great big massive fuck off rocket so it can join the other Furbies in the sky." I don't know what that means.
No. What does that mean?
What does that
If
mean?
you explode in the sky, you join the Furbies in the sky? Like,
Danny, we're going to need more context. Can you come on the podcast and explain it to us?
This is a 2012 tweet, but it's like one of the first Danny Dyer tweets that I ever found, and probably by this we kind of followed him, I guess. Just this kind of crazy.
Well, I remember.
nonsense.
I know that they were making the piss out of his tweets on what's it called, the Big Fat Quiz of the Year, sort of thing.
Yeah.
They say he had some crazy tweets in there, and I kind of, if you don't follow Danny Dyer on Twitter, you should. He always gives me a chuckle when I see one of his tweets.
Yeah.
But he actually had someone from Audible was reading. They got the actor Jonathan. I'm gonna butcher his surname. I think it's either Pierce or Price or something like that. But he was the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones, if you've seen that. And he reads out one of Danny Dyer's tweets, and it's really funny. Maybe I can get Tony to link it in the description. But yeah, it's just he's like, very serious acting, and then he's just reading out one of Danny's tweets telling flies to fuck off.
Shit eating flies.
Shit eating flies. So yeah, that's the end of the podcast because I don't want to keep people waiting for too long. We've gone about 2 hours now. So you can catch us as always on the YouTube channel Inbetween Podcast. Toby, if they haven't checked out the new show, the Inbetween show, I think we're going to call it something else. I thought of a name the other day, but I forgot it.
Okay, you need a notepad with you at all times.
Yeah, because I always forget things. I have an awful memory, but I think it might have a different name because the first name that we gave it was really confusing, and I just used it as a joke.
I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine in the context of the first video to be like that, but I think we need to rebrand it properly.
So if you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm showing Toby a fantastic Disney MMO, Toontown, which funnily enough actually came out before World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Toontown is older than WoW. So we have legacy Toontown servers, Toontown rewritten private servers. Check that shit out because that shit was really fun when I was a kid.
I still haven't checked it out myself though. I haven't played it myself yet. That's the biggest.
Tony, you played yourself.
I have.
But yeah, so you check us out on YouTube. That's Scorn2000 on Twitter. VidMe, the Inbetween Podcast. We double upload onto that because why not? VidMe's a fantastic website. They've supported us so far. They've given us verified status on my channel and the podcast. We're very thankful to VidMe for everything they've done for us. And as always, Tony doesn't exist yet.
No.
I'm still waiting for him to make his first video.
Yeah.
I'm highly anticipating it. And
you probably shouldn't hype it up so much.
I will not hype it. I've not hyped it enough. I will Peter Molyneux your video. I have not hyped your video enough, Tony. It will part the fucking seas like Moses. So yeah, as always, goodbye. bring on the Rhinoceros and get ready to jam out.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Bye.